Good morning, Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Sorry, please bear with me. The light. Please bear with me. There we go. That's much better. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. How are we all doing? As I've said here, get your questions in and smash the likes. This is the morning show where we get to talk all things football. All wrapped up. It's freezing today in South London. All wrapped up. All good to go. All set to talk football for an hour and a half, 2 hours or so. Look, not a good day at the office for Tottenham Hotspur last night. 4-2 defeat at Brighton. We're going to have a look into it. We'll look at the team news and we will look and see where it went wrong from everybody's point of view. Lots of people predicting a big win. It didn't happen. Didn't really get going, did we? We didn't really get going in the game, so we'll talk about that. There's also news. I say news, it's also nearly confirmed, isn't it, that Hugo Lloris is going to be joining Los Angeles FC. Lots of talk that Højbjerg is leaving as well. Look, the Premier League table is very, very interesting. So we're not a million miles away from it, but I do hope that the games like last night, I like to think that it kind of settles some people that are getting a bit excited. I think it shows last night, yes, we've got a few injuries, but who doesn't? And last night was a very, it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening for me for where the players are at, for maybe I think a bit of naivety how we played that game. I think Brighton were better at everything than we were last night. We can talk about tiredness like Postecoglou did, but this is a Brighton team that have been playing in Europe every week as well as playing in the league. So they're going to be tired. They had injuries and they just looked more up for it. Would that be fair to say, people? Did they just look more up for it? Quicker to every first ball, quicker to every second ball. They looked hungrier. They looked more clinical. They looked to have more ideas. And the saving grace, people will say that the saving grace is that the transfer window opens on Monday. But that's only a saving grace if we actually act upon the transfer window, right? It's not just, oh my God, the transfer window is here. And yes, absolutely. And no, I don't, Ron. Big up, Ron. How you doing, man? I don't have blue eyes. No, look, these are hazel. These are hazel eyes. I don't have blue eyes. I wish I had blue eyes. I don't know why, actually. I don't know. I'm quite happy with my eyes. Billy, I just wanted to say before I start, massive thank you to everybody last night. Last night kind of went a bit south, didn't it? Not the football did, but then the end of the show, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. Look, at the end of the day, I can take people saying whatever they want about me. But whatever you want about me, you can call me the C word, you can tell me you hope I die, all the things I get on a daily basis on YouTube, in the comments and in my chat is fine. But I think that the moment somebody brought my wife into it, obviously became a lot more personal for me. And more worrying is that somebody actually knew that information. So, but I want to say thank you that there are more good people than bad. There are more good people than bad, and those people, I really do appreciate your positive comments. At the time, I probably didn't quite see them in the same breath, but when I've watched it back, there were a lot of people saying a lot of nice stuff. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And as I said, football opinions are football opinions, but when we start talking about people's families and their wives and creating fake accounts about my wife and stuff, it's just not on. It really, really isn't on. And I think what disappointed me more than anything was seeing people in the chat saying, oh, it's fine because he gets paid. It's like, oh, you get paid from this so we can abuse you and your wife. I don't think it works like that. Life in general shouldn't work like that. And equally, I don't know what people think I'm being paid. I hear this all the time. Oh, you're paid. Yeah. Do you know how much? Strasbourg Steve will tell you, you don't get paid a lot from YouTube. Listen, if I'm Terry Flewers on the Football Terrace, yeah, I'm going to be making some cash. I've got 12,000 subscribers. How much money do you think we're making? But anyway, get some questions in. If you've got any football questions, please, just football questions, put a Q in front, then ask the question. Or if it's a statement, just tell me, what did you make of last night? Where did it go wrong? Where did it go so badly wrong? And I think the 4-2 scoreline also flatters us. I thought it was more of a 5-6-0 game to them than a 4-2 game. It was, from my point of view, I think he's got the midfield wrong. I think I would have started with a Lo Celso. I think that it's concerning to me that other clubs in the Premier League seem to be able to play an 18-year-old every now and then, and that we can't. We seem to be one of the only teams that don't do it. Even Man City playing 18-year-olds in Champions League games, giving them game time. I think that the difficulty for me is I can't wrap my head around it. We would rather play Emerson Royale, who, by the way, I'm going to say it, is one of the worst players I've seen on a Spurs shirt. He is horrific. Watch him with the ball at his feet. He looks like he is not a footballer. He looks like he has no idea what he's going to do. He's never in the right position. He's moaning a lot because he knows he can't defend. And we have people that rate him, and that's worrying in itself. That is worrying in itself. Midfield, Højbjerg, again, heart, soul, yes, but actual footballing ability, he's been left wanting again. He's been left wanting absolutely again. So really, really tough decisions for me. I don't understand, in a game where you've conceded 4 goals anyway, why couldn't we have started Ashley Phillips alongside Ben Davies? What could have been worse? Would we have been worse if we had started an Ashley Phillips or an Alfie Dorrington? A young kid comes on, scores a goal, great for him. That's great. But yet we seem really adverse to giving anyone a young guy a game from the beginning. Liverpool have done it this season with youngsters like Quansah and Doak. Harvey Elliott is 20. They're playing him. Brighton, last night, Belieber played. Hinchelwood plays. Man United playing young Garnacho, playing Hannibal. They're playing Kobe Mainu. It seems like we won't do it, and it's really, really worrying as to why we won't do it. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Let's see who's in the chat. Big up to absolutely every single one of you. Let me know in the chat what happened, what went wrong. Was it the team selection? Was it the players? Was it the manager? Is it all of the above? Was it tiredness, injuries, naivety? Where do you think last night went wrong? And by the way, it's okay for games to go wrong. I think that many of us said at the beginning of the season that there are going to be, yes, Steve, Lewis Miley at Newcastle. It just seems like it's us that don't want to give any of these youngsters a chance whilst we're sitting top of the 2 youth leagues. We're sitting top of the youth leagues, and we can't give a game to Dorrington, to Phillips. We can't give a game to Santiago. We can't give a game to Donnelly. And then we're talking about tiredness. If we're tired, then mix it up, put some youth in. If you lose and a few youth players play, that's fine. You've lost anyway with the senior team. You've been battered with the senior team. So for me, I think that we've got to start doing that. But let's see who's in the house. I'll try and rattle through a few comments. Big up, Vinny Rowley. Hope you're well. Yes, anybody who's a gambling person, who would have had a double on Spurs and Arsenal to lose? That would have been a brave bet. Would have probably paid good odds. Morning to Tottenham fan doing stuff. Good morning to you. There's the link, by the way. If anyone would like to subscribe, thank you to all those that did last night. Please do subscribe. It is pinned as well. And as always, smash the like button. Come on, we're on 35 likes. Let's not play this game. Let's get to 100 likes as quickly as possible. George, big up, my friend. Thank you for the generosity last night. Has said, what happened yesterday is unacceptable. This wasn't about injuries. It's about time we got our house in order. I agree. Last night for me wasn't about injuries. Last night for me, we didn't look organised. I don't think we looked like we had a game plan. Just pressing isn't enough. I think just pressing and working hard isn't enough. Mario 2012 said, Big up, Savva. Good morning, buddy. Big up to you, Mario. Hope you're well. Much love, dude. Strasbourg Steve saying, smash the likes, people. Absolutely. Here's me saying, get your questions in and smash the likes. Good morning to Tony, another channel member. Good morning to you. Kip Spurs said, so very disappointing. East London Guna said, morning, Savva, and all. Bad day for North London. Yeah, not good. You guys as well. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail. Obviously, there's going to be the whole, was the ball in or out for you guys? But again, it's another opportunity where you've had to go top or pull clear of Man City and haven't. Now do you see East London Guna? Why I always think Man City are going to win the league. Hey, big up, Daniel. You guys must be laughing. You've won 2 in 7. And then if you win your game in hand, you're 2 points off the top, just how you like it. Good morning, Bill. Thanks for coming on the show last night, mate. Really good to see you. It was nice to see a friendly face after what happened. So thank you very much. No, I'm not crying. I've got something in my eye. Good morning, Stu. Good morning to you. Good morning to Video Complete, Sofiane. I thought Kulu, listen, we'll talk about the players in a minute. I thought Kulu was one of many last night who looked awful, really poor. Louis K said never wanted the January window to come so quickly. Yeah, we've got to do something with it though, right? We've got to do it. It can't just open and then it brushes by. We've got to do something with it. John Kramer fan has said people blaming injuries and scheduling are a disgrace. Brighton have as many injuries and play in Europe. Embarrassing performance. Absolutely. I'm not blaming injuries. No scheduling. That was just a very bad day at the office. Louis has said we must be the only team in world football who don't play youngsters. It's concerning. Everyone told me, all the people, all the people that are experts on Ange, they all told me he'll play the kids. Well, he won't. Strasbourg Steve said, yeah, Yao Pedro. I'll be honest, Yao Pedro, Welbeck, Milner. To be honest, Brighton were excellent throughout, but Yao Pedro, Welbeck, Milner, Hinchelwood, and also I thought Gross and what's his name in central midfield? Gilmore. I thought they were excellent. Getting on the ball, moving it forward quickly. Tony has said, Ange dropped the ball last night. Play the youngsters, make some subs, be ballsy. I agree. I didn't think he got last night right at all. Waited way too long to make substitutions as well. Blue Collar Sports said, James Milner rolled back the years. I mean, James Milner was superb last night, wasn't he? Honestly, it really did look like it was James Milner from 25, not 38 or whatever he is. Liam said, we looked tired for sure, as Anne said. I wasn't super confident. I lost my energy knowing the 11 were going to put out. Leadership from Son was poor. I don't see any leadership from Son. I'm going to be brutally honest, not just him. I don't see any leadership across this squad. Ben Spurs said, isn't Højbjerg virtually our only available midfielder in January? I'll be surprised if he's sold. Good point. We'll talk about it, Ben. We'll talk about this. It's a really good question. I think if it wasn't for the African Cup of Nations and Bentancur being injured, we might see him go, but I think you're right. Alan, let me know if you're available, man. Feel free to come on, brother. So big up Savva. Big up the chat. Last night was awful from players to Ange, games management, everything disappointing. I agree. I thought the whole thing was wrong. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that, right? It's okay to say that you thought the manager got things wrong. The players didn't do what they needed to do. It was a great first half from Vicario. There's my positive from last night. And obviously, young Valise scoring his first goal for Tottenham Hotspur is a big deal. So well done to him. AF in Oz has said De Zerbi adopted a structure whereby Brighton were able to outnumber Spurs in the midfield, and this stifled our attacking play while enabling Brighton to launch their own attacking raids. Yeah, I think he just won the managerial tactical battle last night, didn't he, De Zerbi? He really did. Big up, Ash. Listen, haters can say what they want about me, just not my wife, all right? John Kramer fan has said the players look like they spent the last 3 days drinking. Lazy and lackadaisical, great word, would have been 6 or 7 at half time with Lloris in goal instead of Vicario. That's the worry for me. I don't know how I'm watching a game thinking I'm glad we're only 4-0 down. I thought they were superior at everything to us. Louis K, even when we sign players, I don't understand when the youth will ever be integrated. I agree. Love you too, Steve. Thank you very much, Heather. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Do try my best to keep everyone entertained with as much content as possible. But Alan, it was just a suggestion, mate. It's all right, mate. It's all right. Harry Winks raid. Harry, how you doing there, Leicester? Top of the table. I don't understand why Lewis Dunk didn't get sent off. Yeah, quite possibly. But for me, we've got bigger issues to worry about than why didn't Lewis Dunk get sent off. Let's be brutally honest. Bill, I'll come to this question in a minute, mate. I'm going to save this. I'll come back to this. Liam has said 2 words, Chicken Royale. Awful footballer. A terrible, terrible footballer. It doesn't say a lot for Dorrington and Ashley Phillips that he's playing at centre-half in front of them. Ron has said, we are shite with what we have at the moment. Sun looks shite with this shite players. We need our first street players back, I swear, or we will suffer badly. Sure, Ron, but listen, Brighton had a lot of players out too, right? And they didn't look shite. Obviously, I've changed the word there. Good morning to Q7, channel member for 10 months, always very generous. Thank you so much, bro. I said, morning, Savva. Are the likes of Donnelly really incapable of doing more than Hill? They used 2 teenagers. He said the players look tired but don't rotate. It's a question. I agree. Obviously, I'll sit on the fence and say he sees them every day in training. Maybe they're not ready. But these players are top of their youth league. These players are raved about by everyone, and yet they can't get in above the likes of Brian Hill, Emerson Royale. It's worrying. It is worrying for me. In other news, Arsenal messed up last night. Yes, they did. Liam has said weak leaders performance from Son. I don't think he's a captain. I've said it before. Everyone, when we were winning 10 games in a row, everyone said, oh, what a leader, what a captain. You see a captain when you're losing games, when you're struggling. I don't see him. Against Everton, I thought we were awful. I didn't see him. I didn't see him doing last night. Didn't see him. I think he hides. I think he's a very good forward. I don't think he's a leader of men. I don't think he's a captain, just for me. Musings of a football fan. Hang on. I'll come back to this question. I'm storing up the questions. Paul Martin has said a game like that was coming. And I think a few more will be coming. So just let some of the youth have a run out. January will be a long month for us, and I won't hold my breath. Listen, I don't even think it needs to be all the youth, right? But if we're saying that Phillips can't get a game, or we can't say, okay, do you know what? Right, Kulu, you go out wide right for the game. I don't like him there. Kulu, you play right. Or Johnson, you go right. Kulu, have a rest. Donnelly, you go and play an attack in midfield. I don't know, just something. Like, we can't keep saying, oh, Kulu looks tired and Sarr looks tired. He plays them every game. You've got to rotate. You've got to do something. Big up to you, Fuzzy Khan. Hope you're well. I won't be able to get to all the comments, by the way. There are so many. Ben, I agree. There is no consistency with VAR. There is no consistency. It's why I don't like it. Enzo says Savva is a voice of football. I'm not sure about that, mate. But thank you for the kind words, Enzo. I do appreciate that. What did Sherwood say? I recall something, but I'd like to. What did Sherwood say? Strasbourg Stevens said Cole Palmer is 20 and one of Chelsea's better players. By the way, I'm not having a pop at Son or Royale or Kulu. I thought the whole team was dreadful yesterday. I thought Udogie looked awful yesterday at left back. I thought he was constantly the wrong side of his man. Too easy to get past. Pedro Porro, if he gives the ball away anymore in midfield, I'm going to cry. A talented footballer for sure. And people go, yeah, but no, he didn't get beaten once. He gave the ball away so many times. It was embarrassing. Daniel Griffiths has said, was Ange not playing Phillips Dorrington just in case they do a good job so Levy doesn't open up the wallet? Daniel, we can't play like that, right? We can't not play players just to prove a point to the chairman. Surely the manager's job is to be, and I'm not saying he's not, but the manager's job is to be professional and do what's best for the team, not what's best to prove a point to the chairman. We'll see that the transfer window opens on Monday. Will Stewart made a great point last night when I watched him on a show. Will Stewart said, you know, a Tadibo needs to be in now, like Monday, on the plane on Monday. You know, a plane on Sunday, signing on Monday. None of this, oh, well, we're going to negotiate for a whole month. We should be doing that already. By the way, thank you to whoever just subscribed. If anyone else would be so kind to, please do. It is always appreciated as we head towards 12,100. So please do help the channel grow. It is always appreciated. The link is in the chat. It's also pinned. Jason said, get where you're coming from. But having watched the last under-21 games, those blokes are way off senior level. Sure, but how do you know unless you put them in, Jason? If they're way off senior level, why did we buy Ashley Phillips? Don't even put him in the senior squad. Leave him in the youth if he's not ready. Don't put them on the bench at all if they're not ready. Chris has said, poor depth, give it 3 more windows. Chris, do you know what? Absolutely, it's what I've been trying to say this for a long time. Expectations need to be reined in a little bit. And what I'm told is let people dream. Sure, everyone can dream. Go and dream, knock yourself out. But there's got to be that element of realism to this as well. Yeah, there's got to be that element of realism. Savva, you're thinking of Buonotti and Gross. I thought Buonotti was good as well. Good player. I think he got it wrong last night. Jason said, to be fair, half their team is under 23. I'm not sure who we're talking about. I don't know if we're talking about Brighton. But, yeah. Isan Aguna said, like I said, Savva, I do not trust any of the players apart from 3, and I do not trust the manager to get us over the line. Sack Arteta now. It's the Lee Gunner school of thought. Lee Gunner's been very consistent for years, said this guy is not going to win us stuff. Let's see. Let's see a big opportunity last night for you guys to go back top, to get a 7-point lead over Spurs. You didn't manage to do it. I'm not knocking you. Obviously, look at us first. But, you know, Kate said there's no excuse from being tired from 1 game a week. I agree. Leah said when PEH starts, we always play shitty football and lose. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Where are we? Here we go. George, big up. Always so generous. Thank you so much. Much love to you, George. Thank you so much. And you are a valued member. If you could tell everyone else to subscribe, that would be amazing. It's free. And please smash the like button, people. We're only on 62. We've got 189 of you in here. We should be on 100 likes. Please, right now, go and smash that button. Isan Naguna said, and just starting to realise the Premier League's a bit more tougher to win games. I mean, he's won a lot. He has won a lot. But I think for me, we knew there were going to be some tough games where we get beaten easily. And last night was one of them. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. For me, it's not that we lost. For me, it's just that we looked void of any ideas. I thought Sonny, Richarlison and Kulu and Johnson just all looked ineffective. Kulu, I've never seen him get knocked off the ball so easily. Brennan Johnson, for me, we'll talk about him in a minute. You know, I don't understand what people see in him. Not for me. He is not for me. Philip said, I'm hoping Sheffield gets a result against City, but I doubt they will. City will only be 2 points behind us. Listen, Philip, everyone always says, oh, you love Man City. You love Pep. You think they can do no wrong. No, I don't. History has taught me. Right? History should have taught everyone. Man City, before the Everton win, they'd won 1 in 6 before they played in the World Club Cup. 1 in 6. Now, that was the moment for me, Philip, that Liverpool and Arsenal had to pull away. That's when Liverpool and Arsenal had to pull away, and neither team did. Liverpool obviously drew twice at home against Arsenal and Man United, dropping 4 points there. Arsenal have dropped, 3 points to West Ham, 1 point to 2 points they would have been dropped, I suppose, at Liverpool, 3 points at Villa. These are points to pull away from Man City. And Man City, if they beat Sheffield United on Saturday, go second in the table, 2 points off the top with 19 games to go. Is anyone really going to back against Man City? I mean, it's madness how people can't ever see this coming. But listen, I've said, Philip, to be fair to you lot, I've said all season, everybody in my chat, you'll agree with me. I say this every day so that it can't ever be clouded. City, Liverpool, Arsenal. That's the front. That's the top three I'm going for. I've gone for it since day one, and I think the rest is good. I think the fourth place is to be played out, and I don't think there's a standout candidate. You've got Villa, you've got Spurs, West Ham are in there, Brighton, Man United. Look, we'll bring up the table in a minute. Big up. Which one of you is it? Which one of the likely lads is it? Is it Haas? Is it Ash? Or Marlon? Big up if it's Haas. Thanks for coming on last night. Big up the other two guys. Spurs, GCTV said we had no mojo. Can't sugarcoat that result. Big up. I will always stay strong. Yeah, just last night, people talking about my wife is just not the one. It's not the one, right? You can't do it. Can't be doing that. Foxy, big up, bro. Said Pedro could be even better if he worked on his finishing. Bang on. Listen, I said before the game, Hass and I were talking about it. He is a brilliant footballer. Such an awkward player to play against. Just got to sort his finishing out. But what a handful. What a handful. Watch him. Watch Richarlison. Watch him and watch Richarlison as footballers. One is an absolute handful with the ball at their feet. The other isn't. Big up, Colin. Happy New Year to you as well, my man. We'll get there. I think we're 2 days off it, right? We'll get to the New Year's. But Happy New Year to you and yours. Jason said Donnelly struggles to kick the ball 18 yards of any power. I don't believe that for 1 second. He's been scoring goals for fun, so I'm not sure how he struggles. John Kramer fan has said, I don't care whether Dunk was sent off or not. Anyone looking at the referee as part of the problem, we should focus on our team and what we need to improve. Yeah, listen, should Dunk have been sent off? Quite possibly. Is that the reason we didn't win the game? No, we were awful from start to finish. Let's call it for what it was. Hayden said, morning, Savva, watching Emerson Royal yesterday. I can't understand how Phillips isn't getting a chance. Phillips must be really bad if he can't get in above Emerson Royal. Honestly, one of the worst Spurs defenders I've seen. This guy is loved because of his social media presence. Oh, he's funny. He's a meme and he dances and he sings. He's a terrible footballer. He's a terrible footballer. And now Kulu's suspended. Stuart, absolutely. You know what? When these players get these suspensions, and by the way, can we talk about this? Our disciplinary is horrific. You see, Lo Celso, what he did running over to João Pedro at the end. You think, what's wrong with you? We've already got loads of injuries and suspensions, and you want to go and do that. What is wrong with these players? Kulusevski, what's he doing? Pulling that shirt like that. What is he doing? Just don't understand. I really don't understand. Daniela has said if we can get a centre-back and an attacker who have good quality, then we're in. If we don't, then we're in trouble. We need them in next week. I agree. I don't know if it's about being in trouble. I think we're going to be in and around the 5th to 7th. I've said that all season. 5th to 7th. 4th would be an amazing season for me. 5th to 7th is where I see us. But if you want to do better, then you've got to buy better players. It's no shock. I mean, I think in the window, I think Solomon was an okay signing. Brennan Johnson, for me, was a really, really lazy signing. Phillips, Valise. When you break it down from what we bought, I feel like we didn't do anywhere near enough, and we didn't buy the second centre-half that we needed. And, yeah, listen, look, we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine. I've got no worries about us this season. We're going to get into Europe. But games like last night do show why we are miles off it. Forget other teams. We are miles off it. We've got a lot of poor footballers at this football club that really do need to go. I think Brian Hill came on and showed he's not good enough. I thought Højbjerg was poor. Papa Sarr for me has been blown. Look, Papa Sarr for me is a good young player that should be getting minutes every now and then. He's been blown into all sorts of stratospheres. People talking about Vieiras and Yaya Tourés and some of the greats of the Premier League. And he's not that. He's a kid. He's a kid that needs time to learn, to grow, to craft his game. And everyone goes, oh my God, he's amazing. It's like, he's not. He's okay. He works hard. He's not particularly good on the ball. He works hard, but I just feel we need to temper expectations of some of these players as well. I thought Son was awful yesterday again. I thought he was awful against Everton. think he needs to step up and come to the party a little bit, if I'm honest. This is why when people have said to me over the years, oh, you don't rate Son as much as we do. Yeah, I don't, because when he's not scoring goals, I don't think he does a lot. Big up, Kate. Good morning. Hope you're well. Yes, I'm okay. Thank you for your nice message last night. Unfortunately, people having a pop at my wife is just not the one, Kate, especially with the sensitivity of the subject that they were talking about and the fact that she saw it. And I think that's the gutting thing for me, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, is that my wife saw the message and you guys have no idea what that message done to her. So when people say, "Oh, I have thick skin," that ain't right. That ain't right. That's taking it too far. Good morning, Amir. Hope you're well. Big up, George. Yeah, sub and like. Thank you. 2 people have subbed today. Anyone else would like to? The link is pinned. So please do. I am saving up some questions, by the way, so don't worry. I am seeing them. John Kramer said, people saying Ange is struggling because the Premier League is harder. Forget that Ange's first season at Brisbane was dreadful. In fact, his start at Tottenham was better than any of his previous starts. Listen, I don't think it's about the Premier League versus any other league. I think that Ange Postecoglou look, it's his first year in the Premier League. Sure, he's going to have to learn that, of course. Every manager would for their first year. But equally, it's his first year with the club. And I think it's going to take time to settle. I think, listen, John, you know what I said at the beginning of the first 10 games? Everyone always has a pop at me and goes, you didn't enjoy it when we were winning. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's that nothing lasts forever like that, right? And I always said that 10 games has kind of clouded how good people think we are. And unfortunately, games like last night, games like Everton, I know we won, but they showed that we are not what people think we are yet. And yes, injuries. Every club has them. We can talk about injuries all day, but you're going to have to play games without injuries. With injuries, you've got to. Never are you going to have a time where your entire squad is fit. Johnson reminds me a bit of Lennon. Great pace, not much end product. I'll be honest with you, Daz. I'd much rather an Aaron Lennon than a Brennan Johnson. For 47 million, I just feel like we could have done so much better recruitment. Let me know what people think. I mean, maybe they think I'm being harsh. Where are we? Oh, got loads of comments. Pyramid Schemer said you have to be nigh on flawless to beat City under Pep. The game is the game. Listen, the thing is, when Man City go through their spell of not doing well, that's where other teams have to take advantage, and they didn't. They didn't take advantage. And as I said, if Man City win on Saturday, they're 2 points behind Liverpool, having played the same number of games, and that is Man City off the back of only winning 2 in 7. I just think people should have pulled away from them when they had the chance. Peter Cowart is in here saying, Kate, hold that. Spurs, hold that. Kate, hold that. Whatever that is. Big up to you. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, though, Savva. Good morning to you as well, Peter. Tyrell Gunner TV said, morning, Savva. Both our teams suffered last night. North London got folded. Yeah, it wasn't a good night for the North London teams, was it? West Ham beaten both of us now at our own grounds. And West Ham are in the conversation. West Ham are in the conversation. We can have a look at the league table in a minute. So I've got so many comments. I try and get through to them. Jasmine has said, really disgusted. You have 3 pictures of Johnson on your thumbnail while you're digging him out. Performance was on the gaffer. First of all, I've got pictures of all the players on my thumbnails throughout different days. And secondly, I'm not digging him out. I just don't rate him. I'm sorry. I don't think it is digging out. I said from the get-go, I didn't think he was good enough. I think we could have done so much better recruitment. 1990 says, Savva, Emerson Royal or Gilberto for the wooden spoon, the worst fed of the Spurs in the Premier League. Oh, listen, I've seen some bad ones other than them. The likes of Kevin Scott, Stuart Nevercott, Paolo Tramezzani. Seen some bad players, but yeah, these two were both very bad as well. Emerson Royal is a shocking footballer. I mean, the ball was rolled out to him by Vicario at one point. No one near him. He takes 5 or 6 touches to get the ball under control. By then, he's closed down and gives away a corner. It's shocking. Pipes, big up to you, my friend. Hope you're well. Has said, agreed, the discipline or lack of is absolutely pathetic, and Ange really has to get a good fit. So far, he hasn't. I agree. our discipline game out looks woeful at the moment. So this is why, Pipes, when people say, oh, we've got suspension, then stop building up suspensions. Do you know what I mean? Like, Kulu's not playing at the weekend. People go, oh, we're missing Kulu. Stupid foul. No need for it. Terrible discipline. Right? So, yeah, I agree with you. Musings of a football fan. Sorry, I'm trying to get to all the comments. I don't think I'll be able to get to all of them. Said it's unacceptable that it took us to go 4 down before we turned up. We need a centre-back, attacking midfield and striker. Levy won't do it, though, based on previous. Zaha and Nelson. Zaha and Nelson, mate, was the window where you went, oh, God, we're not serious. We're not serious. Johnson is not good enough. Kudus was £45 million. Watch Mohamed Kudus play for West Ham and then watch Brennan Johnson. Scouting is everything, right? Scouting is everything. Yeah, absolutely. I did see Emerson Royal do that. Absolutely. Calvin has said, we are still yet to win a game without Romero. He gives the team a whole new level. Last night wasn't just on Romero. Last night, the midfield was terrible. The forwards were terrible. This was more than one centre-back not playing. Let's be brutally honest. Mubarak said Spurs fans already think top 4 secure. I do not think it's secure. I'm not saying we can't get it, but secure, no way do I think it's secure. By the way, let's get to 100 secure likes, shall we? We're on 86. Come on. We should be on 150, to be honest. There's 200 of you in here. Let's smash that button. Yes, a great question, Nicola. Why are we so ill-disciplined? And yes, Kulu is suspended for the Bournemouth game. Bad day, we'll bounce back. Listen, we've got to bounce back against Bournemouth. We've got to bounce back. What happens is our fans go into meltdown when we lose like last night, not you. And then when we win, they go into hype-up mode. It's here or here. It's never in there. I'm in there. Whether we win or lose on Saturday against Bournemouth, I'm in there. I don't think it's as bad or as good as anyone thinks. I think we are where we should be. I think we are 5th to 7th. And right now we're 5th, just 3 points above 6th. That's where I think we should be, right? Before everyone thinks I'm massively negative. Agreed about Sarr. Listen, I think the key thing, Pipes, is he's only 20. For me, I just think, again, fans hype these players up uncontrollably. We hype them up. We did it with Kulu after the first 3 or 4 months at the club. Then he has a terrible year, and then we hype him up again. It's like, I want to see consistency from players. Grow, learn, get better at what you do. Then I'll hype them up. Peter Simons is agreeing with you there. Mark Cook's in the chat. Big up, Mark. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Tony said Scarlett has been recalled, so we're not buying a striker. Levy, masterclass. So would be a masterclass. Whoever has just subscribed, thank you very much. For anyone else that would like to, the link is in the chat. Really do appreciate you helping us move along. Dina said, Savva, who do you think will take the captaincy as all the leadership is away or injured? I think it'll be Ben Davis. I think it's going to be Ben Davis. I don't think it matters. If I'm brutally honest, Dean, I don't see any leaders. I don't see Romero and Son as captains. I don't think they're steady enough. I don't know. I just don't see them as captains. Naya 40 says, Savva's a very level-headed Tottenham fan. Love your content, honesty. Arsenal fan. Thank you very much. Listen, I just don't try to blow things out of all proportion. Mate, yeah, what they said as well was absolutely disgusting. Kate has said, Ange was wrong with tactics yesterday. I think the thing is we don't change it up ever. Like we don't. I feel like during the middle of that game, you realise Brighton were getting the better of us. And at second half, we came out exactly the same. And he waited until like, what was it, the 70th minute or something to make subs. It just felt wrong. But hey, it is what it is. Magical Music has said, Ange is the greatest new manager of the multiple months. I don't know what that means, but okay. Stephen has said, I'm probably preaching to the converted, but this is entirely on Levy. We should have acted ruthlessly to cut our losses on players who are not good enough. I think it's on, listen, I think there's a lot you can put on Levy, but sometimes games like last night, we can't put on Levy. Games like last night, Brighton had loads of injuries. I didn't see them blaming their chairman. last night, for me, I think that the manager's got to see what's going wrong in the game and change it. I don't think he's getting the front three right at all. I don't think it works. I don't think it looks particularly dangerous. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he's getting the centre half pairing right. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, I liked Lennon. As I said, I'd much rather him than Brennan Johnson. Pipes has said our fans always get carried away about our players. Even Vicarios are promising players, but to call him the best in the Prem or even the world is laughable. Many flaws in his game. I agree. He's had a brilliant start to the season. But I tell you what I've noticed about Vicario. A lot of shots get parried back into harm's way. But that's just that's me being overcritical. He is the best of a bad bunch at the moment. Let's be brutally honest. I agree. I've said this for years, Noonan. The quality of players in general compared to what it used to be is down. Of course it is. I've said that for years. Yeah. Serve South. So South said the problem with Spurs supporter base is that they throw their toys out of the cot with a loss. Get a grip. You don't win every week. I don't think I haven't seen anyone throwing their toys out the pram. It was just a bad loss. We're going to talk about it. It's a bad loss. Serve South, if you knew anything about me, I'm someone who says that games like this are going to happen because I don't think we're as good as others say we are. And that's why you'll never hear me talking about title challenges. Still last night, I saw people going into other channels going, Spurs will still win the league. And you're thinking, oh, stop. When is the reality check? When is the slap going to wake them up? When is it going to go, hang on, yeah, let's just cool it down a little bit. And the problem is if you go around telling everyone you've got the best manager in the world and you're going to win the league and every player we've got is great, you're going to get battered when you don't, right? South, it's impossible to get Johnson out. I think that's a bit harsh. I just think he's a squad player. I think he's a rotation squad player. I think you're going to get something good from him every 3 or 4 games. He'll dig out a good cross or get a tap in. But for me, here you go. I'll ask the question. I'm going to ask all of you, and thank you to whoever just subscribed. I'm going to ask everyone here. If you are a fullback, are you worried about playing against Brennan Johnson? I'm going to ask that question. For me, he is all pace, no technical ability. Let me know what you think. Isan Naguna said Kudus is a top player. Arteta shouldn't have let him. Listen, there are good players like that. That have been signed and no one else took them on. I mean, West Ham have done some really, really good recruitment. Look, we're going to get some questions in a minute. Yeah, Kate, I don't think listen, I don't think there has to be meltdowns. At the end of the day, we're going to lose games. I think whoever thinks Spurs aren't going to lose games is crazy, right? We're going to lose games. It was disappointing. The manner of the defeat was disappointing. For me, there's no meltdown. I don't expect differently. I think Spurs are capable of this. People keep saying, oh, Ange's got that out of them now. No, he hasn't. It's in some of those players. Yeah, he's not a miracle worker. But big up to you, Kate. So that wasn't aimed at you, just in terms of what you were saying. Mario has said, hope you're well though, mate. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Need a performance on Sunday. And we're in the convo again. Nature of the league this season. Yeah, listen, look, for me, I think we've got to bounce back with a win against Bournemouth. They're in form. Going to be a tough game, but we've got to bounce back with a win. We can't keep putting excuses out every week. Look, when we look at let's have a look at some of the Premier League fixtures this weekend. Let's see who's going to do what. Where are we standings? Premier League fixtures. When you look at this weekend, Villa at home to Burnley. Are Villa going to drop another game? I can't see it. Looks like Villa will probably win that. Man City home to Sheffield United. Looks like they're going to win that. Fulham at home to Arsenal. That's going to be the interesting one. Liverpool at home to Newcastle. You would expect Liverpool to win that. And West Ham at home to Brighton. I don't know. But it's going to be really, really interesting. And we've got to win. We've got to win to stay on the coattails of these players. So I'm just trying to get to all the comments and then I'll get to super chats and questions. Sorry, there's so many in here. Pipes has said, I would give the armband long-term to VDV. He's young, but has that calmness. I wouldn't be against that. He was captain of the Dutch under-21s. Calm-headed. Maybe next season he would be my captain. I don't know about you, Pups. I don't see leadership in Son. I don't really see it in Romero. I think Romero's a very self-centered footballer. I think Sonny is just, I don't know. It's difficult. What makes a leader? I don't know. What does make everyone in the chat? What makes a leader? I don't know. My score prediction, I don't like doing them until I see the teams, but you've got to win the game. You've got to win the game. 2-1. I don't know. I'd like to see the team, see what he does, see what he puts out. And it is what it is. But big up Mark. I says, Savva, we were poor all over the park from Vic. Apart from Vic, this squad needs 8 to 10 players minimum of a certain level to compete. We can't be letting Pedro dance past 6 players. Listen, yeah, it's going to take time. I don't know why anyone thought it was any different. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, isn't it? John Kramer said, nothing he does is memorable because his end product is dismal. Is this Brennan Johnson we're talking about? Let me know. Kate said, agree with you, Savva, no end product with Johnson. Listen, do you know what? He sticks in a good cross every now and then. But for me, Kate, it needs to be more. As a winger, what are you doing to your man? Like when you look last night, Brighton's wide men were constantly going at us. Brennan Johnson just looks like he had no clue of what to do when he got the ball. He looked, I don't know, he looks weak and he looks void of ideas. And I don't know, just he could come good. But for me, it's just another underwhelming big transfer fee that we've spent. You know, we spent massive on Ndombele. We spent big on Lo Celso. We spent big on Richarlison. We spent big on Johnson now. Just a lot of underwhelming footballers at big prices because our scouting has not been good enough. And then people will say things like, oh, Paratici did this and this scout did that. And yeah, I just don't get it. Yeah, I think it's going to be Kate. I think it will be. I think it will be Ben Davies as captain when Sonny goes. Ben says Vic is the only leader, leads by example, always has a good game, and is the most vocal player we have. Maybe it goes to Big Vic. Maybe it goes to Big Vicario. By the way, we are 112 likes. Thank you so much. Someone who else just subscribed. You lot have been very, very generous today. Really do appreciate that. If anyone else would be so kind to subscribe, we'd really, really appreciate that. Foxy has said the difference is Prem teams are spending 50 million plus on squad players. It's insane. Man City signing Echeverry from River for 20 million, who will take the Prem by storm for the next decade, different levels. Man City keep doing it. Kanji, 15. Everyone talks about Man City spending billions. Kanji was 15 million. Julian Alvarez was, 15 million as well, I believe. Phil Foden came through the youth team. They're buying this Echeverry for 20 million. Rico Lewis through the youth team. How much was Kovacic? How much was Rodri? They seem to get good signings, don't they? Son is captain for marketable purposes, no more, no less. We have no leadership. I don't know about the first bit, but I do think that we need some more leadership. I think we've got to get some experience into this squad. I really do. We are ahead of where I thought we would be. The standard of the league is poor, to be honest. Gaz, I kind of agree and I kind of don't. Only reason is I said I think we'd be 5th to 7th. Right now we're sitting right in there. But yes, I think we've done well. I don't think anyone can say we've not done well. We've done well. I just think that there are certain things that really do highlight that we're not as far down the road as some think. I do agree with you on the second part wholeheartedly. I do agree with you. The standard of the league is poor. I agree. No one can pull away. It's poor. Tottenham are preparing a bid for Radu Dragusin. I keep hearing this. I'd like to see it confirmed somewhere, but I keep hearing this. VDV captain for me. Davis won't be in the team. Well, he will be in the team when Son goes to the Asian Cup, won't he? He will be because Van der Ven and Romero are both still injured, so he will be in the team. Strasbourg Steve. So what makes a leader captain? For me, you've got to be consistent, respected, take accountability, stand up when you face adversity, be a presence in the locker room. Captain should reflect the manager. Can't disagree with any of that, Steve. Can't disagree with anything you've just said there, my man. For me, I want to see it on the pitch as well, you know. I want to see that when things aren't going well, where's my captain getting back and going, right, everybody, huddle. What's going on? Sort this out. Take 5 yards back. Sit off for a little bit. Stop letting them win every second ball. You know, I just feel we don't have that. Pipes doesn't want another goalkeeper captain. Foxy said a leader is Paul Ince away in Italy. Oof. Who remembers that game? That was at in Napoli, right? Was that in Naples? If I'm pretty sure. That was the England game where he had the headband and the blood on his shirt, right? And yeah. Bad times or good times, whichever way you want to look at it. Yusuf says, Savva, when do you think it's time to cash in on Son and upgrade that position? I don't think you got to cash in on Son. I think Son is one of the only dangers that we've got up there. Son's a good player. For me, I've always said, I just don't think he's this world-class player that everyone else makes him out. Far too many games where I just don't notice it. Last night, did not notice Son. For the majority of that game, I'm watching him thinking, right, okay, cool. Get the ball. Do something. Beat your man. You know, do something. Get a spark. But then you look at the Newcastle game and he was superb. Consistency for me with all footballers, not Son, all footballers. Consistency for me is what sets apart the world's best from the rest. Consistency. Yeah? Harry Kane consistently does it. Consistently. You know, it is what it is. Jack L70 said we must invest in a defender and top centre forward. My preference is Ivan Toney. I can assure you Spurs are not going to be buying Ivan Toney. First of all, there is no way Arsenal would let that happen. They would go in for him and offer more money and pay more wages. Second of all, Spurs won't pay anywhere near what is needed to get an Ivan Toney. We just won't. It's not what we do. Kanji was free. Didn't they pay 15? I thought they paid 15 million to Dortmund for him, didn't they? Are you sure, Steve? Hang on. Let's have a look. Are you sure, Steve? I don't think that's quite true. Man City squad. Here we go. Man City squad. Manuel Akanji, Korea, transfers. 17.5 million euros. 17.5 million euros, Steve. Hey, it's all up there, mate. It's all up there. Look, let's bring up the table. Let's have a look at the table, shall we? But big up to you, Steve. Listen, I'm not saying they're not spending money. Of course they are. But when you look at Chelsea are spending money, Man U are spending money, Arsenal are spending money. Everyone is spending money. Difference is they've done it better than everyone else. That's the difference, right? They've done it better than everybody else. FCB Elite, he's not beating around the bush. So last night, we were trash. It wasn't good. It wasn't good last night. No. I don't even want Davis at this club. Davis, for me, Davis, Royale, Hill, Højbjerg, Skip, these players, Richarlison, should not be at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. These players come, they never seem to go. They seem to stay forever. So no, definitely not. No. Gaz, I agree with you. I always think he's been hot and cold. That's not a criticism. It's just a fact. I think Son has games where you go top draw. Then he has many games where I go meh. Not just him. He's not the problem, by the way. Just because I'm talking about him doesn't mean I think he's the problem. But for me, I need to see a bit more. Where we are, let's have a look. So Q7, big up. We've done this one, but thank you very much. George, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you so much. I think I might have done this one already, but big up to you. Really do appreciate that. Martin Knightsbridge, my man, said squad is so thin. Surely we're going to see the young uns. Martin, I think the worry is people keep talking about injuries and suspensions, and we still don't see them. So I don't know what happens when our players are back fit and back from suspensions. They've got no chance. None of the youngsters have got a chance of breaking through under this manager, I don't think, at the moment. That's just me. But hey, it is what it is. And thank you so much for the super chat, my man. I always appreciate the super chat. So thank you for anyone that is that kind. Thank you very much. Daniela Zito has said, question, if we sign someone on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, we probably won't. When will they be able to play versus Burnley? Great question. I don't know the answer to that. Isn't it like 48 hours before, something like that? I don't know. Anyone in the chat that's got a better understanding of that than I have? Anyone in the chat? Let me know. Whilst it's not as it, maybe go. How much your usually worth? Oh God! So I always get whenever Spurs lose. I'll tell you. Do you want to know that what happens to me on YouTube? If Spurs lose, people double down and come and attack me. My YouTube is. I said Spurs would win last night. Still, people came and attacked me. You said Spurs would win. It's like, oh my God! If I'm positive and say we'll win, I'm attacked. If I say we'll lose, oh, you're not a real Spurs fan. Absolute madness. Do you think Vicario is establishing himself slowly but surely as a leader? I think so. I think it's not hard to do it at Spurs because I don't see many of them. I don't see any of them really. I don't think it's hard to do, but yes, I do see that. Reno has said, Savva, what do you want in January versus who we'll get? This is the age-old question every transfer window. Same as in the summer when everyone was losing their mind at the transfer window. Other than Vicario, Van der Ven and Maddison, I think, again, it was another wasted window where we signed another 4 or 5 players but didn't actually strengthen the first 11. If you look at what we did in that window, Kulu was signed but was already here. Brennan Johnson, meh. Solomon, meh. Phillips, doesn't even give him a minute. Valise, I mean, it was another window where everyone lost their. We did it the year before with Conte's window. Everyone loses their mind every window at the number of signings versus the quality of signings. And we've got to stop that. We've got to have a window. Like if we buy 2 or 3 in now, they've got to be who we want. So to answer your question, i.e., we want a Todibo, do we get in a Lloyd Kelly? That type of thing. Right? Bill, big up to you. I said, do you think it's time we start with a recognised centre-half going forward? Yes. I find it extremely arrogant that he doesn't. Yes. I don't know any other club in the Premier League, even with injuries, that are starting 2 fullbacks at centre-half. Bill, let's face it, right? Liverpool have had injuries to 2 of their best centre-backs, Matip and Konate. They've been playing Quansah at centre-half. Spurs, we don't. We play fullbacks. Very frustrating for me. I completely agree with you. And question here from Musings of a Football Fan. It's a question, what is your take on the dunk tackle on Kunu? I feel like it was exactly like Romero's the other week, but because the media isn't hyped as much, I think it was a red card. Yeah, I do think it was a red card. I think VAR is absolutely shocking. I do think his was a red card. I think Romero's was a red card. You've got to be consistent with these opinions. Yes, it was. Yes, should have been. Other than that, I thought Dunk had a really good game. I think he's a good defender, Dunk. He's a solid Premier League defender. I'd take him in our back, in part of our defence all day, every day. But yeah, thank you for the question. Really appreciate that. Peter has said, if Ange can't sort out the discipline, he's weak. It's strange because the discipline's only been happening since he's been here. So he clearly wants it. I'm not sure he'd want it to this level, but he clearly wanted the disciplinary to be like that. I don't know. He kind of wants this, but Declan said not being reactionary, but have been saying we should have cashed in for Son after his golden boot. Listen, Son's our top goal scorer with 11 goals, or what's he got? 11 goals now, 12 goals, whatever he's got. I don't think we should be cashing in on him, but I do think he's overhyped. Every time he scores a goal, people go do Lally. Like against Everton, I mean, the ball bounced to him and he tapped it in, right? Other than that, he did nothing in the game. He did nothing last night. Good player, but massive. I've said this for years, massively overrated. Massively overrated. Surf South said, Kulu, the biggest letdown last night, a pathetic performance. I do think it was a poor performance from him, and many others. Many others. Bill said, I can only see one signing in January, a defender, and it won't be a popular one. This is the worry, right? This is the worry. If we are serious, and to shut people like me and Bill up, no offense, Bill, to shut us up, go and get your Jean-Claire Todibo. Go and get it over the line and we go, fair enough. Gone and got the target. If you don't get him because it all breaks down and then you go and buy a Lloyd Kelly, I mean, it's just nothing's changed. Big up, Steve. Listen, mate, your knowledge of football is so vast and good. You're going to get a few things. Mate, we all get things wrong. Do you know what I mean? As I always say to Terry Fleurs on the Football Terrace, do you know what the worst thing that happens is if I'm wrong? I'm wrong. You know when people you're in the mud. I was wrong. Show me anyone who gets every football prediction right. Like, I'll be wrong. I'm so vocal about how I think the top three will finish in the Premier League, that I deserve. If I'm wrong, people go, you're wrong. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Philly 2109 has said a real leader is Tony Adams or Roy Keane, a leader among men who you would go to war with. And if you're not pulling your weight, will grip you up and demand more. I agree. Even someone like a David Beckham, who was more of a silent leader, but every game, Beckham led the way on the pitch. Every game. Sippermanla, I got that right again, didn't I? Sippermanla. I said Gill is shocking. Yeah, it shouldn't be at Tottenham Hotspur. Again, shouldn't be at Tottenham, but it is what it is. Thank you for the person that just unsubscribed. Really appreciate you. If we can tell you what, let's see if we can get a target today. There we go. We're on 12,046. Can we get to 12,050? Can we get 4 more in the next half an hour before the show ends? That would be absolutely brilliant. And I'd really, really appreciate that. The link is in the chat. Putting it in right now at 11:04 UK time. Pipes has said Deadwood FC. Yusuf, I'll come to this question about Brennan Johnson in a minute. Robert Wilson said, morning, Savva, just tuned in. Hit the bottle last night after that performance by Spurs. Yeah, it wasn't good, was it? Someone accused me of being drunk on the stream last night because I had a double whiskey. I had 1 double whiskey in the evening. Unbelievable. Surf South says, Son has awesome pace. Jessica has said, no Basuma, no Sana, Bentancur and Jan, Skip injured, left with PH. We need someone in. Club's got to act like a big club. If we want to talk like a big club, we got to act like a big club, right? Got to act like a big club. We haven't had a proper captain since Ledley. I agree. I do agree with you. Jack L70 said, we must sort out our injury issues. Are we buying injury-prone players, or is the problem the pitch, the training ground, or medical staff? I don't know, but I think it's the style of play as well. It's the relentless pressing. The players are getting tired. Then you add on to that every game now goes on for about 100 minutes. Stop and start with VAR. I don't know. Something's not right. Lewis has said, give Phillips a chance. We can't be any worse, or else we'll be playing 4 fullbacks in the back 4 till VDV come back. Lewis, I agree. You know what? We've just seen us concede 4 with Royale and Davis. Why not at home to Bournemouth in a game where we're probably going to have more of the ball? Why not play him? If you concede 4, well, we conceded 4 anyway without Phillips. What's the worst that could happen? He could come in and be excellent. Look at the kids Brighton threw in. Liverpool throwing in Quansah at centre-half. Let's look at Quansah of Liverpool, right? If we look at Liverpool, where are they? They're top, aren't they? If we look at Jarrell Quansah, right? He's come in. Young lad. He's played 6 Premier League games at centre-half for Liverpool this season. And you know, they've got Konate, Matip, Gomez, Van Dijk, and they've managed to get him 6 games at centre-half. We've got all our centre-halves out injured, and we can't manage to get Ashley Phillips 1 minute of football. It does baffle me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Levy with a bevy said, I think it's disgusting what Ange is doing to the youth. I can only hope Levy is forcing him to play the dross in the hope of raising prices. Even that is terrible. The youth all need to leave. Look, for years at Spurs, we've had youth players come through that have gone on to play elsewhere. You look at Marcus Edwards, he left. You look at Carl Walker-Peters, he left. You look at Madwiki, he left. How many more? I mean, it's happened for years at Spurs, hasn't it? Paul Pablo said, good morning. How can anyone predict Spursy? It's tough to predict Spurs, what we're going to do. It's tough, isn't it? So South said, Matters a leader. I think Matters is definitely missing. I think he's more of a leader than the other 2. I'd make him my captain, probably. If I'm brutally honest, I'd make him my captain. Robert said, half of Kane's transfer money down the drain with Johnson. Robert, it doesn't quite work like that, though, right? I mean, you know, the money that we got from Kane would probably have already been spent on Maddison and Van der Ven, if we're brutally honest. But yes, I don't disagree with you. For me, listen, I've got nothing against Brennan Johnson, but 47 million, you've just sold Harry Kane. The fans are looking for a lift. And I look at him and I don't know, there's not a lot to him as a footballer. He seems very timid, very lightweight. Like he puts in a good cross against Everton, everyone goes, oh, he's brilliant. But what's he doing the rest of the game? The fullbacks have an easy game against him. Maybe But do you know what? At some point, you've got to have some centre-halves that can defend. He plays a high line with Brighton, so why wouldn't he be able to play it with Spurs? I disagree with this completely. I think Dunk is a superb player who every year, isn't he always like top of the number of touches of the ball because he brings it out and starts off play. I think he's a good player. I think he's a very good player. That if you had Dunk, Van de Ven, Romero and Todibo, if you have 4 good centre-halves. But Jessica has said, sorry, excuse me, I don't know where that came from. Todibo, Dragusin, O'Reilly, Jota, Jimenez is what if I was going out buying Lloris, Dyer, Lo Celso, PH out. Jessica, I think we all know Daniel Levy. We're never going to do that in one window. Todibo will be 35, 40 million. Matt O'Reilly, I don't know how much he would cost, 30, 40 million. Jota on a loan. Jimenez will be, what, 60, 70 million? There's not a chance Daniel Levy does that. But I don't disagree with you, by the way. It's not a chance we do it. On form, we lose to Bournemouth. It's going to be an interesting game. We've got to win, right? We've got to win. We've got to somehow do what we did against Everton. Poor performance for most of the game, but get over the line. Look, Bournemouth are in good form, but everyone in good form has to lose that form at some point. Tell you what, someone in a minute remind me, 11:03. I'm going to bring up, so we can have a look. I'm going to bring up the Premier League table. Where are we? There it is, the Premier League table. Hopefully everyone can see that. There we go. So if we look at the Premier League table now, yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? First thing I want to draw your attention to is, I mean, Man United aren't a million miles away. This is a Man U team that everyone is saying Ten Hag needs to be sacked. They're not great. They're not a million miles away from us. And West Ham, I mean, David Moyes just gets no credit. This guy has had a phenomenal season so far. Look at them. Their record is just one defeat more than ours and 1 win less. And everyone talks about Ange being a genius, Ange this, Ange that. Look at what David Moyes has done at West Ham, beating Arsenal away, beating Tottenham away, sitting 3 wins on about 4 wins from the last 6. I mean, Brighton, with that win again, put themselves back into the conversation for European places. Going to be really, really interesting. What do we make of this table? For me, as I said before, I think Man City will be top. I think Liverpool will be second. I think Arsenal will be third. Then you've got Aston Villa, Tottenham, West Ham, Man United there, and Brighton. After that, can anyone else creep in there? Can Newcastle turn it around and start trying to get back into Europe? I mean, as I say, get back into Europe. At the moment, Newcastle are 2 points away from Europe, by the way. I think we're saying like it's a disaster and, oh my God, Eddie Howe needs to be sacked. They're 2 points off of European football. What do we make of this, guys and girls? What do we make of this? You can see there that through consistency, Liverpool are top, 4 wins, 2 draws. For all of apparently Man City being down, not as good as they were, look at them. Look at where they're sitting, Man City. Look at where they're sitting. Just waiting to pounce with that game in hand. Yeah, I mean, look, with Tottenham are in where I would expect them to be. I said in between 5th and 7th. Nothing's changed my mind. I expect us to be in and around that position with West Ham, with Man United, maybe with Brighton. But beating Bournemouth is a must. If you don't beat Bournemouth, you just let all the other teams crunch up behind us and all the teams above us move away from us. And all of those 4 teams look like they've got winnable games at the weekend. City, Sheffield United, Aston Villa at home to Burnley. Arsenal at Fulham. Who knows? Who knows? Arsenal are a funny team. And then Liverpool this weekend. Sorry, bear with me. Liverpool have got Newcastle at home. So, again, the top 4 for me look like they've all got games they can win. I'm not saying Spurs haven't got a game we can win, but it's really important that we win it to keep in touch with those teams. But who would agree with me? I think we are where we probably should be with our squad. Are we above anyone in the league that we probably shouldn't be above? I'm not sure. I think we are where we should be, in and around where we should be. We'll see. We'll see. But as I've always said to everyone, it's not about what you do the first half of the season. It's about what you do, the business end. The business end. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Here's a comment from Yusuf, said, thoughts on Brennan Johnson. I never thought he was good enough to join a Big Six club. Shocked you signed him. Yusuf, listen, players are always capable of getting better. For me, I'm going to be brutally honest, I'm massively underwhelmed. I'm massively, massively underwhelmed by him. Actually, no, I'm not, because I wasn't expecting anything from him. I think it's another one. Our fans got really excited. If Ange wants him, we want him. For me, I don't see anything in there that makes me go, yeah, we've really upgraded. I don't see anything in there that makes me go, yeah, we're serious. I see a homegrown player that's been signed for that very reason. Not for me at the moment. He's young, but not for me at the moment. Nunny said, yes, Savva, big up en route to Southampton away for Argyle while watching on the coach up. Big up, my man. Enjoy indeed. I didn't know there were any games today in the world. Let's have a look. What's going on today? Oh, wow. There's 12 championship games, 12 League One games, 12 League Two games. Wow, yeah, there's a full program today of games. Wow, I didn't know that. Pyramid Scheme has said too many games, too many meaningless internationals, too many stops due to VAR, too much extra time. The game is very far paced. It's a litany of issues. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely couldn't agree more. Daryl, big up my man. How you doing, bro? Said two things happening in January: snow and Spurs fans rating another window over 8. Whatever we do, we rate our windows brilliantly. And then when we don't win games, go, oh, it's not the manager, it's the window. We can never make our minds up, can we? Like when I said the window under Conte was poor and everyone said, oh, are you kidding? This is great. He's been backed. And then when we didn't win it, oh, it's not Conte's fault. He's not been backed. Yeah, usual. Vasia said, moaning at you for having a bit of whiskey. Oh, mate, honestly, it's madness. The things that happen on you, people think like because you're on stage that they can just say whatever they want about your life and criticize you. It's absolutely madness. Gaz has said apparently Ange was going to play Phillips before he got injured recently. I agree. He should start this weekend. Yes, I would like to see him start this weekend. I would really like I would like to see him start this weekend. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Where's that? Thank you to the person that just subscribed. Really appreciate it. Let me know who you are so I can say thank you. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying my best to try and get as many comments, get everyone as involved as possible. It's not always easy, but I'm trying. Tony has said our kids will get tired of the bench. They see other teams' kids get the chance. A lot to be said for that. Ronnie has said Dunk should have been sent off. Yes, he should have been sent off. Yes, he should have. I don't think many people would disagree with that. Well, if he is realising that, then play one of the kids. Give the kid a chance. Bill has said he's not called Dunkinho, so he's not Bill. If Dunk was Argentinian or Brazilian, people would go, what a top defender. Every year he has a great year for Brighton. Yeah. I said last year, I think he had a better year than Romero. Oh, my God, you don't know football. He's terrible. I think he's a really good footballer. I think he does a really good job. Yeah, the foul yesterday. But all in all, he's good at bringing the ball out. He's good on the ball. He's good in the air. He's good in the tackle. Visaya said, you're a good YouTuber. Oh, thank you. Only one of the only channels I watch as a United fan. Also like to watch Curtis Shaw channel when they lose because of how annoyed he gets. Big up to Curtis Shaw. Simon said, can we recall Roden? No. Imagine Roden in this style of play. That boy turns like the Titanic. He cannot run at all. I think that would be crazy. I see what you're saying, but I just think that would be crazy. For me, Phillips and Dorrington are the future. And if they're not ready, get them out on loan. Right, let's talk about that. Who agrees? If he doesn't want to play Phillips or Dorrington, should they be going on loan in January? For me, absolutely. Go and get them some game time. I'm not talking about in a club where they're going to be on the bench. Go and get them some game time down at a Leyton Orient or something. You know, Phillips has played in the Championship for Blackburn. Yeah, get him back to the Championship. Give him 5-6 months of playing regularly. Don't just leave them sitting on the bench to rot, because at the moment, they'll be watching Emerson Royal going, how am I not playing in front of this clown? Sorry, we're going to call it what it is. Ravi, it's a big up Savva, but what was that for Brighton? That not good, man. Not good, was it? I thought we'd win. We didn't. These things happen. We move on. We move forward. Dave Billabong, big up Dave Billabong, has said, if Ange feels the same team or something like against Bournemouth, I'm lumping big cash on the cherries, as there's simply no way all our wasters fluke another result. I'll be interested to see what he does. He's got no Kulu. I think what he'll do is just replace Kulu for the Celso, and I think he'll go with the same team. Let me know. What do you think the team's going to be? I think he'll do the easy option, if I'm honest, and I think he'll just go to Celso for Kulu. For me, I'd make a couple of changes. You know what? If he chucked in Phillips and Donnelly, and we lose the game, I'll turn around and go, fair play. You gave the youth a chance. I can't complain. You've done what I asked. But when you're playing Royale, yeah, when you're playing the Skips, the Højbjergs, the Brian Hills, that's on you. Moyes football is what awful. We have moved away from Conte, Jose. Credit to Moyes, but not the style of football I like. Matt, the thing is, this isn't true. Not always. I watched them against Wolves the other day. They played some lovely football. In the bigger games, yes, they do sit back, but not in all games. My West Ham mates have said that they played some really good stuff this year, but against the bigger teams, they sit in. Would I want Moyes' football at Spurs? No. But for what they are, they've done a fantastic job for what they are. I mean, and you think they went and sold. See, there's a club that sold their best player and invested brilliantly. Just saying. Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Kudus, Mavropanos, good signings. Good, solid signings from them. Thank you, Manu. So, Man United fan, I love your channel. Thank you very much. I always just try and talk all football. I think it's really important. I was always brought up that you can't just look at your own team. You've got to know what's going on around other leagues. That's how I was brought up, I'm afraid. Jack has said, Savva, we were only in that position because of the disastrous Chelsea game. Suspensions, injuries followed. No, Jackal, these things happen. When you say we're only in that position, every other club, look at Brighton's injuries last night. They've gone and spanked 4 goals past us. The injuries happen. Injuries happen. We knew we were going into the season with just Van de Ven and Romero as centre-halves. The club knew this. It's planning. You've got to plan. You've got to plan. We knew Harry Kane was sold, didn't buy another forward. You've got to plan. Planning is everything. Paul Pablo has said, Brennan Johnson has blistering pace. Never seen him use it a lot. I agree. He's got great pace, but it doesn't really seem to be doing a lot. Who would you rather have 50 million? Listen, I would have had DRB. I'd have had Kudus. I would have had many players over Brennan Johnson. Semenyo. I want Semenyo of Bournemouth. He's better than Brennan Johnson. I think there's a lot of players better. Rob has said, hope you're doing all right after editing last night. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, listen, it's not me. It's more that my wife saw it. It's just not on. It's not on. Lee, Enigma 27 has said it's simple. Ange's system only works when you have competent players that can play the roles. Once depleted, it shows the backups. None of them are good enough, bar a few, to play the system. Then Daniel Levy and Postecoglou between them need to go out and sign some footballers, right? You got to bend, you got to adapt. Look at what you think. Man United, who have had horrific injuries all season, horrific compared to ours, are 5 points behind us, and everyone's talking about Ten Hag getting the sack. Let that sink in. John G has said, evening, Savva, I hope you're doing well. Honestly, last night's game, I don't think Ange could do much more. The players literally, I'm not hearing it. Again, why, can I ask, why is this manager never, ever, whenever he's criticised, what more could he have done? But it's his job. It's his job. Look how De Zerbi coached that team last night to counter what we did. It's his job. This is what he's paid to do. I think Europa League is a better chance for us to win a trophy. I would agree with that, but yeah, I agree. Only if we sign a competent squad. Can't cut. What we can't do is next season. You know, all these Spurs fans are going, "Oh, our injuries have killed us and crippled us." What about all these clubs that are in Europe with injuries playing midweek and at the weekend? It's madness. Strasbourg Steve. Listen, I might be around. Yeah, what am I doing this weekend? I'm going to be doing the Spurs game versus on New Year's Eve versus Bournemouth for sure. I'm not sure what else I'm doing other than that. But look, let's WhatsApp later, mate. Let's WhatsApp later. We'll take it from there. Jessica, yeah, absolutely. With Dunk, you normally know what you get. He's normally a solid 7 or 8 each week. That's what I like from a defender. Mikal, big up, bro. Hope you're well. I said, and I hope you had a good Christmas. So shocking display yesterday for 75 minutes, and suddenly we turn it on while the game is already over. Not only individual bad performance, also we didn't adjust to how Brighton cut us open. Mikal, bang on. This is the thing for me. People are saying, oh, there's nothing the manager could have done. He watched Brighton rip us open all first half. Change it. Change something in the second half. And again, he didn't. Players, manager, I think all of it was bad yesterday. Yeah, Jack, you got, listen, I've been saying Dunk for years and I keep getting laughed at. I said I'd have Tarkowski for years. Solid defender, know what you're going to get, defends. Then we watch our lot try and defend and then say these players aren't good enough. It's madness, madness. Big up, Dave Billabong. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you. Look, we set the target, didn't we? We're only one away from that target. If 1 or 2 more of you want to go and subscribe, that'd be really, really appreciated. We're going to go for another 10 minutes. So please do. That would be absolutely brilliant. Bill said, Roden can't be recalled. Both young players should ask to leave in January if they can't get a game over Royal and Davis. Bill, I would. If I'm Phillips, I'm knocking on that door going, Gaffer, we've got Romero and Van de Ven injured, and you've put in Davis and Royale, who are both fullbacks. How do I get in? You're about to buy a Todibo type. How do I get any minutes of football at this club? I'd be asking to leave. I would be asking to leave, or at least go on loan. Sorry, sorry, that's what I mean. Like to go on loan. To go on loan. Loan Valise to AC Milan. Just a loan Valise anywhere. Get the guy minutes. Get the guy playing regularly. Agree. Phillips Dorrington should be given a chance, but Postecoglou clearly is not going to do so. The same with Donnelly. It's very frustrating. I agree. Philip, I said as a rival fan, they should go out on loan instead of just sitting on the bench. I agree. Completely agree with you. Rob Belcher said, we moved to Dorset 14 years ago, never regretted it. And although being a Spurs fan for 60 years, have been really impressed by local side Bournemouth. I'd take Solanke in a heartbeat. I agreed with everything you said until heartbeat. Solanke, for me, he's doing well now, but do we buy players off the back of 4 good months? I'm not sure. I think that's where we've got in trouble before with players. I'm not sure on that one. Let me know, people. Solanke, thumbs up, thumbs down, what we're saying. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's play the game. 5 words. Should Spurs sign Solanke? That's not the 5 words. I'm asking you the question. Should Spurs sign Solanke? Give me 5-word answers, please. The club knew Levy out. Oryx Beats said, big up Oryx, how you doing, bro? Hope you're well. Said we need a new left and right winger. Keep Son at striker. Johnson will only be good as a sub when the opposition team is tired and Son does nothing at left wing. Listen, I don't disagree with anything you said there. I think Sonny at left wing against Newcastle was phenomenal. Since then, Sonny doesn't look to have done a lot, really. He scored the goal, but I'm talking about running at your fullbacks, creating havoc. And young Hinshelwood last night wasn't worried by Sonny in any way, shape or form. Mapping, yeah, I think Johnson last night, I mean, he couldn't control the football. It was embarrassing. Yes, I would have Bakayoko over him as well. Conte was wrong in how he did it, but his words were spot on. Always excuses. The Spurs moment of 2023. I don't make you wrong. When you come 8th, you don't buy kids the following window. Listen, it's bad. It's what we do. DJ said, then how did it work in Scotland or Japan? His reserve players are better than he's ever had. I think it's a different league, though, right? It's a different league here. It is, whether we say it or not. Bill, listen, I think it's different every fan. I think there are a lot of fans that do double down so much on one player or a manager that it becomes hard to have a normal conversation because they're so fixated on that person. We've had it with Sonny for years. We've got it with Richarlison now. We've got it with Emerson Royale. He's got his little fan base. We had it with Ndombele for years. Anyone talked about Ndombele and all these little fans came out, oh my God, you don't know football. He's a baller. 5 years later, he's done nothing. 5 years later, Lo Celso's done the square root of nothing. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Spurs King said thoughts on West Ham getting better without Rice and Arsenal getting worse with him. Tough one. Listen, I don't think Arsenal are as good as last year. I don't put that down to Declan Rice. For me, he's their best player. I do. I think Declan Rice and Saliba are their best players. Everyone talks about Saka. They talk about Martinelli and Jesus and Odegaard. For me, it is Declan Rice and Saliba. Any Arsenal fans in the chat, let me know what you think. Arsenal not being better than last season for me isn't down to Declan Rice. I think he's good. I don't think it's that. I just don't think it's right for them at the moment. Tony Rodriguez has said, I don't think criticism should be taken as some sort of Ange out movement. Absolutely. Even Pep gets criticism. Absolutely. As football fans, Tony, we've got to be allowed right after a game to say, I just think the manager got it wrong. The problem is, you're right. It turns into, oh my God, you criticised Ange. You want him out. I mean, it's like mad. I just think he gets things wrong. I think every manager, Pep gets things wrong. You think Pep Guardiola, the greatest manager in the world, messed up a Champions League final by dropping Rodri? Remember? Like, managers get things wrong. But our fans are very, very delicate over saying anything about our managers. We had it with Conte. You had a section of the fan base. If you said anything about Conte, no. It's like, well, hang on, he messed that up. Same with Tony. I'll do it with any manager. I don't care. I'll do it with any player, any manager. I don't care if I love the player, hate the player, love the manager, hate the manager. I will criticise them. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Pyramid Scheme said, Sav, thoughts on Dane Scarlett. Alfie Devine and Ashley Phillips is the future. Bright. I don't know because we don't play them. There's the honest answer. Pyramid Scheme. Look, I'm 41. Right. In years and years and years of being a Spurs fan, I hear every year the future's bright, the future's bright. This young player's coming through, that young player. Look at all these kids. We're going to do well. Think about when all these play. And they never play. They never get game time. Look, we've got an injury crisis and suspensions all over the place, and we can't even give the kids a minute there. Look at Hinshelwood last night. What is he, 18 years of age? Look at the game he had. Look at the game he had. How do we know one of our youngsters couldn't do that? John has said, naive from Ange again. Makes me feel he isn't elite. Sorry to say. Well, look, he's not elite, is he? I mean, if he's elite, he would have been doing it in the top leagues for many years. He's a very good manager that needs to learn and adapt to the Premier League, like any manager would from coming from another league. John said, who cares about Arsenal when we were in this state? All right, someone put it in the chat, so I talked about it. John's on one and said, Kulu and most of the team are bang average. See, someone's laughing, said Tarkowski. Tarkowski's a good centre-back. This is the problem, the arrogance of fans. Tarkowski's a very good centre-back that defends. I don't understand when we belittle these players. I just don't understand. Jay says, Savva, fans might not like this, but Vali should start over Son or Richie. He shows more energy and hunger. I mean, for me, if you're going to play Son through the left, why not give Valice a game up top? Why not? JB has said the story Tim Sherwood says about the first time he played Kane with Levy about playing kids should tell you why they don't play. Manager's got to be stronger, right? The managers have to be stronger. 5 words. Solanke is not good enough. Solanke, the jury out. Not the type of striker needed. Think we can do better. If we have brain damage, it's because he's homegrown player. This is the worry now. Are we starting to look at all these players because they're homegrown rather than what we actually need? That's surely a worry. By the way, come on. 40 likes away from 200. There's 275 of you in here. And can we get a couple more subscribers before we end the show in 5 to 10 minutes? Come on. I'll keep going for a bit as long as there are people in here. Bill, his 5 words are Soldado, Janssen, Raziak, Bent, Solanke. Philly has said, hella no. I don't want Solanke. He's woeful, the same level that uses Pigeon. I think that's the question, right? Is it a player that's just in purple patch of form, or is he a top player? For me, I've not seen enough of him that tells me he's a top player. I'm seeing enough of him to say he's in wonderful form. And there's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. He's in wonderful form. By the way, somebody did message me on Instagram and say, how do I become a channel member? If anyone here wants to become a channel member, just let me know and I can provide those details. Kenny Fan TV, how you doing? I said, big up, Savva. Been a while. How's Angeball cooking? In and out. It's in and out. It's in and out. Sometimes we're very good to watch. Other times we're horrendous to watch. Nothing other than I expected. Big up to you as well, my man. Hope you're well. Big up to Spurs FC. Morning, Savva. Hope all's good. Big up to you. Thank you. Thank you. I saw your comments in my YouTube community last night as well. So thank you very much. I know people just come into my comments and say things like, oh, just don't give these trolls airtime. Listen, they can say what they want about me, but that message was just cutting deep, man. That message cut deep and it wasn't right. John has said we got battered last night. We have major problems. I wonder. I don't know about major problems, John. I wouldn't say we've got major problems. There are definitely things that we need to change, and it's why I think that everyone needs to calm down a little bit. Philly, I said the cult of Dyer turned my stomach. I ain't going to lie. Yes, the cult of Dyer, 10 years on. Look what we've got out of him. No thank you to Solanke. Big up, John. Kenny said Arsenal will finish 4th. Who's finishing above them? Hang on 1 second. 1 second. Oh, the wife's made me a smoothie. I lost all that weight and then I've piled about a third of it back on. So I need to get back to kicking some of that weight out. Big up. Daniel Field said, afternoon, Struth, mate. Yeah, not good. 5 words from Ren. Big up to you, Ren. Thank you for your nice message on Instagram. I do appreciate you for that. I said at least Arsenal lost 2. I think that's where we're at from a performance like last night, is that we're all going, oh, well, at least Arsenal lost. Look, it doesn't give me much comfort, but my Arsenal mates, I'll be honest, actually, I can't even say my Arsenal mates were arrogant about the game last night. I said, thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, the goodness of Christmas. Well, it's like a Christmas dinner in a glass. I thought Arsenal would walk that game last night. I did. And fair play to West Ham for holding on in there. I think Arsenal had something like 30 shots. Absolutely amazing. Didn't win. Joseph Broadley has said, saying Rice is the problem is lazy. It's the front three have been poor. Yeah, Joseph, I agree. I don't think Rice is your problem. I think Joseph, I'll ask you the question. Would I be right in saying the best 2 players at your club are Saliba and Rice? Let me know. I know Arsenal fans want to put Saka on a pedestal, but I watch him. I don't think he's consistent. I watch Rice and Saliba. They look consistent. Let me know what you think from an Arsenal fan point of view. Savva, do you think Spurs will make top 4? Look, I've said all along, I've said this loads of times. I've said I think we'll finish 5th to 7th. If we finish 4th, then I think Postecoglou has way exceeded expectations. There's no reason why we can't, but it's going to be a dogfight. As I said, West Ham are there. Aston Villa are there. Man United are not a million miles away. Brighton are not a million miles away. Newcastle, can they get their act together? So can we? Yes. Will we? I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not ruling it out at all. I'll tell you what, the heating needs to go on. It is freezing in South London. Is it freezing where anyone else is? Does anyone else... I could go for another 15 minutes if people want me to go for another 15 minutes. If not, we can end the show. But if not, get some questions in and we can still chat about football. At least we scored against this West Ham super team. This West Ham super team. Oh, my West Ham mates are unbearable today. I woke up all the WhatsApp chats in the groups. Yeah, we're going places. We're getting Champions League. All this nonsense. Mm. Matt Bennett said, Brian Hill was better than Son on the left yesterday, though he missed a sitter. Sums up how poor our front three were. I thought our front three, again, were awful in the Everton game after the 30th minute. None of them can hold on to the ball up top. The ball goes into them and bounces back immediately, and that's half the problem. Philly has said Arsenal signing the likes of Tony, and yet we are signing Solanke. There are levels. Well, they've not signed him yet, Philly. If we're going to be honest, he's not signed him yet. But yeah, if we signed Solanke and they got Tony, that really would show the appetite of the two clubs. Daryl has said Spurs always buy players who have a good purple patch. I thought we were a data-driven team. Now, bang on, man, bang on. Fran, big up to you, has said we'll lose the kids if they don't play. Yeah, you've got to, I think at some point you've got to, and we're 31 away from 200 likes, so smash that like button, people. Smash that like button, and thank you for the very generous subscribers today. Look, very generous today indeed. We've gone up by a few. I mean, if we're 2 away from 12,055, so that would be amazing if we could get to that. It'd be 5 above the target. Kenny Fan has said, Ange ain't even an elite manager. Facts, but he's a good manager. Listen, look, this isn't about Ange. I don't think there's many elite managers. Yeah, Pep Guardiola is an elite manager. Carlo Ancelotti is an elite manager. Jose was an elite manager, was an elite manager. The rest of them, they're all playing catch up. They're all trying to do their thing. But yeah, when we chuck around words like elite managers have won everything in world football. Elite managers are winning trebles. Elite managers are winning league after league, winning Champions Leagues, World Club Cups. Elite managers can take multiple big personalities and get the best out of them while rotating them and keeping them happy. That's what elite managers do. We're very quick in this world to want to call managers elite, players elite, everything's elite, elite, elite. Ben, I'd take him all day long. He's a brilliant defender. The art of defending has been lost. And what's happening now is, because Tarkowski, again, not sexy. It's not a sexy name, is it? He's not foreign, right? But he does the job. Why has the art of defending gone? Now, oh my God, a player doesn't bring it out and spray it 50 yards every time he gets the ball. So for me, yeah, I would take him. Mikal, big up bro, said I would have Ben Mee, Tarkowski, Dunk, Aya, Konza, Mings, Abanyu, any of them. Yeah, I agree. Sometimes you've got to have some players that just want to defend, right? Look at Villa's back four. Is it the best? No. But Mings wants to defend. Konza wants to defend. Carlos wants to defend. They want to defend. If he was English, I'd call him naive. I don't know who we're talking about there, but let me know, Bill. Fran, I agree. I think we need some leaders. I think we need some men. I think other than Kulu, Son is lightweight. Johnson is lightweight. Brian Hill is lightweight. Skippy's lightweight. I don't know. There's a lot of lightweight in there. I agree. Where are we? Big up Angeball. Merry Christmas, Savva, and the chat. Merry Christmas to you as well, my friend. There's the link. Thank you so much to everyone who's been very kind and very generous today. And if you would like to be a member, just let me know. And I can give you the link to that as well. Please bear with me 1 second while I drink this horrible, horrible thing. Oh, not for me. John has said, Spurs King, I bet you're one of those happy campers that think Ange is the best manager in the world. Mark Saunders said, still proper gutted with last night's result. Leaving home for ages about injuries, buy nothing, lined up for early. Mark, I agree, but I think this is the problem. When we win a game, everyone says Ange is a genius. When we lose a game, everyone automatically goes to Levy. I think we need to keep the same energy for Levy when we win games. And we need to keep the same energy for Ange when we lose games. Right? For me, I think this manager whenever we lose or he does something wrong, he gets away with it. People just eat Levy. Now, I'm a Levy out person, Mark. I'm a Levy out person. But we can't just say every time we don't win a game that the manager got everything spot on and it was Levy. Last night, we had more than enough on that pitch to win that game. Brighton were decimated with injuries as well. They were just better than us. Daryl said, I'm still trying to work out, Ange. Guess what? I'm still not sure. Paul Trower says, big up, Sav. Big up to you as well. Dave Billabong says, only 4 players in last night's team. Good enough moving forward. Vicario, Adogi, Porro, Saar, and 2 are youngsters. We are no Kulu, no Sun. Just asking. And we are a complete mess with a weak cowardice and naive manager. Wow, that's. I get stick for criticising the manager. This guy's calling them weak, cowardice, and naive. Big up. Who is this? Is this Anne or Sanad? Big up to you guys. I love Forest Fan TV. These guys are good guys, and it was wicked having a drink with you at the Football Content Awards. So big up to Forest Fan TV. Renner said, naive, too ready to believe someone or something, or to trust that someone's intentions are good, especially because of lack of experience. Thank you for that, Ren. Rich has said, Spurs King, have you not been... okay, I'm moving on from that. Alwyn has said, have I missed something? Are we at the beginning of a build with a new manager and a way of playing? There are good teams all over the Premier League. A 5th to 8th finish is a good start. Alwyn, I agree. Alwyn, I think for me, where I come from with this is it. This is it. You didn't miss anything. This is it. I think it's the people that have over-egged how good the manager and the players are already. Let the team build and grow before we start blowing smoke up people's asses, is what I would say. Big up to everybody in the chat. We're 20 away from 200 likes. Hope you are all well. Brilliant. And a lot of people calling Ange naive. Was he naive? Right. People in the chat, yes or no, was Ange naive? I've not said that, by the way. Lots of you are saying it. Was Ange naive? And it's definitely not a strawberry milkshake. I can assure you of that. It is a very healthy smoothie. Trust me. The White Rooster said, listening to Ange after the game, he put it nicely. These players can't give any more. These players aren't good enough. Then maybe try some of the kids. Ange Ball said, Lo Celso had to start against Bournemouth. When I saw the lineup, I knew we were in trouble. Højbjerg and Skip just too slow on the ball. Too many touches and passing range not good enough. Morning to you as well, Mikel. Good morning to you. I reckon 5th Sav. John said, no way are we getting 5th to 6th, in my opinion. When you say no way, we're in there, right? We're 5th right now. Do you not think that we're going to be in and around this position at the end? Do you think we're going to fall away massively? I think where we are right now is probably where we'll be. If he gets 4th, superb. I think you're being a bit harsh, John, here, aren't you? Pyramid has said, Savva, as a United fan, we are light years away, brother. ETH is a bald fraud. But for all of that, you're still not far away. Like you're saying you're light years away, but mathematically you're not. But I hear what you're saying. Hey, do you think Ange will put some priority on the FA Cup in Jan? I don't know. I would like to think so. I don't know. Oh, look. We've dragged someone up from... I want to say he's just woken up. That would be great if he had. Have you just woken up, Sean?
Not too long. How you doing?
It's only 11:45, mate. It's only 11:45. Welcome to...
We're in Tweenness, mate. We're in Tweenness. You can do what you want in Tweenness.
Tweenness. Love it. Absolutely love it. Do you know what? I'm going to my old next door neighbour. He moved out at the same time I moved out, and they moved to Ashford. And it was like, right, we're getting the whole road. Like there was loads of the families that were friends. So we're getting back together on the 29th. Come over. So me and the missus were like, cool. We'll go there tonight. We'll have a couple of drinks. He's like, right. If everyone gets here for 2:00, I was like, 2:00 day drinking. I was like, what's going on here? 2:00.
I like a bit of day drinking.
Sean's waking up at 2:00. Sean, it's been a lively chat.
Is it weird that this is?
Is it? Is that wine?
It's Prosecco that's been there since yesterday. I'm thinking about
going. Love it. Have a bit. Sean, obviously you and I, we spoke last night. We didn't actually speak about the football. You drove up there. How was the journey there and back? And How much fun did you have?
Yeah, it was down there, down to Brighton. It's about as down as you can go.
Sorry, yeah.
It was, pretty easy getting down. Actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you a story, and this might end up being it is an embarrassing one. But I get on the M25. I pull out of my house. I'm at the M25. Is literally 5 minutes from my house here, and I have a bit of wind, right? I just had lunch before I left. Had a bit of wind, so I go to relieve myself and realise it's not wind. I'm like, oh no! But I didn't quite. Nothing happened. But I was like, oh god! There was loads of traffic, so I have to dart off into the service station, and literally I ran like walking with 2 rolls of carpet under my arms, trying to get to the bathroom in time. I just about made it. Otherwise, the whole day could have been ruined. Sorry for that disgusting story. So that's how it started. But
hang on. That sounds more exciting than probably what you watched for 90 minutes. That sounds like a more exciting part of the day. Mate,
on tenterhooks, yeah.
look. I'm going to ask you what, in your opinion, what happened yesterday, Sean. Before I do, look, the chat's been very rowdy and lively today. Lots of people chucking out words. I'll get the blame for it, as I always do, Sean. But lots of people chucking out words like naive from Ange. Lots of people chucking out things that we're just not good enough, that we're not even going to finish in the top 7 or 8. Look, is a bit of perspective needed, Sean, that we're probably not as good as others thought. We're not as bad as others thought, and we're probably about where we should be right now, in 5th/6th place. Is that somewhere where would you agree with that, or are we just all overreacting to a defeat?
No, I think. Look, after the Everton game, I don't know. I feel a little bit of your pain, mate. I know, like you talk about this all the time. Like if you win a game, but you win a game badly, and you want to analyse the performance, and you come out and say it wasn't great, then you get pelters from 100 people in your comment section. I get the same, saying, grow up, we won the game, that's all that matters. And like last night, I wanted to analyse the game straight afterwards, and coming from the stadium, I was outside the stadium. It's difficult. You don't get to see the replays. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You're only seeing it from one perspective. A lot of the action was down the other end. So you're a little bit kind of, you've only got 30% of the story, if you like. And but you want to take the positives. And in the comments this morning, it's like, how can you find positives in that? You're deluded. You're just a happy clapper. And I'm like, look, I just want to analyse the good and the bad in everything. Yeah. That's all it is. I want to say, I think this is terrible. I think this is good. But what I worry about, more than the performance, I worry about Ange's comments saying things like, they've given all they can get, they're tired, they gave all they possibly can. I understand that we've got injuries. Everyone's got injuries, right? But it's not like the players are overworked. They've had 1 game a week all season, and this is the only time when they've had to play 2 games a week in a couple of weeks. When we were playing under Conte, I know the system is more aggressive. I know the system is more taxing, but that's a problem. That is, in and of itself, that is an issue. If you can't use this system more than once a week with 11 players, and you have to pivot and profile in a whole other team because the game plan, the strategy, the tactic is too exhausting on the 11 players to be able to do it twice in a week without massive drop-offs, then it goes to show you how far away we are from. We're not 4 players away. We're not a decent centre back, a better striker, and a midfielder. You're 8 or 9 players away from having a squad that's capable of playing that level of that performance under that system twice a week. And in an ideal world, we are, to answer your question, where are we? We're about 5th or 6th, right? It's about right. So I think we are about the 5th or 6th best team in the Premier League right now. But that's going to qualify us for Europe next season.
Of course, yeah.
So if you're going to play in Europe next season and you're going to play Ange ball, then what he's saying in saying the players are exhausted, they've given all they can, what he's saying is we need 22 players that are all capable. We need 2 players of equal or very little drop-off in every position without injuries to be able to sustain 2 games a week. And that to me is terrifying because no one does that. Every team has injuries. Next season we will have injuries. We might not have as many, but we will have injuries, right? And so even if you do go and get 8 new players in that levels up, and you do get rid of Dyer and Davey or whoever it is that the names that you guys we don't want. Even if you have 22 players that are good enough, you're still going to have injuries. Therefore, some of them are going to be required to play two games a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem. If he's literally saying that they're exhausted after playing 2 games a week for the first time this season, I think that's more worrying if you zoom out. That to me is more worrying than the individual performance. I thought the individual performances last night, to a man, apart from Vicario, I thought were terrible. For what it's worth, I thought that Lo Celso had a really great cameo when he came on, but I didn't know it was him that was reckless with that tackle, and that takes away the marks that was down the other end of the pitch. I didn't know who did it. I didn't know that Decky had been like completely cut down and should have been the Dunk should have been sent off. All these things, a story can go a different way. But for me, I feel like for me, I'm not worried. I'm not too angry about the performance. I think it was disappointing, but these things happen. I think we said at the start of the season, this system is new. You're going to have scenarios where you're going to get beaten convincingly. I think sometimes it's just not going to click. And I think yesterday was one of those situations where it just didn't click. And I think, okay, whatever, I'll shake hands with it. Brighton are a really good team, even though they got injuries as well. They are a very good team when they click, and they haven't clicked all that frequently this year, but yesterday they did. All right, it is what it is. Wash our hands, move on. We're still in a good place. We've still got lots of things to be positive about generally. But what I worry about is when Ange says that Ange ball is too taxing for 11 players to play more than once a week. That to me is a concern.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think the key thing is to start off with what you said. I think it's really important that people note that we are Spurs YouTubers. So part of our job is to analyse the good, the bad and the ugly. And as I said to you, Sean, last night, obviously you had some wise words for me, but as I said to you last night, it's just madness. Like I predict Spurs to win. Then when we don't, I get blamed for, you wanted us to lose. And it's like, why would I ever want Spurs to lose a game? We have to be able to analyse the games. I make you right. Look, for me, lots of talk about naive. Look, I think it's a fair question to ask. Look, is this squad, not team, capable of playing Ange's football week in, week out? If the answer is no, right, if the squad is not capable, then I'll throw this back to you, Sean. That's the manager's job to adapt, to tinker, and to make sure that we get the best out of what we've got. Now, I know other people will look at this and go, no, this is just Ange's style. We play that and only that. That's fine. But then if you continue to do that with players that can't do it, when you know that those players can't do it, at what point do you have to say a tiny bit of naivety, Sean? Because I thought De Zerbi got his tactics spot on last night. I think from the first 4 minutes, I thought we were excellent. We looked really hungry. After that, they smothered us in midfield. They broke on us brilliantly. They held the ball up well, something we weren't able to do.
Yeah.
We watched them do that to us for 45 minutes and then came out the second half, played exactly the same way. And Brighton was sitting there going, all right, we're just going to break on you every time here. And they're 4-0 up. At what point does it verge from being...
Could have been 7-0, by the way. We could have been 4-0 down after 10 minutes. Vicario's magic. Yeah, look, it's like, and you know what? The other thing I take away is I was at Brighton because the stadium's miles away from the city. And there's nowhere to park. It's like farmland everywhere. So you have to go and park. I parked at the racecourse and had to get a bus. It's called the Park and Ride from the racecourse to the stadium. They put it all on for you.
Yeah.
And so I had the sort of pleasure of sitting with a bus full of Brighton fans on the way back, and they were all very interesting to get their takes on the game. And they were saying, that De Zerbi changed things up. He goes, it's the first time. They all said it's the first time ever this season that we've seen our goalkeeper go long from goal kicks, and that we passed over our midfield. I was like, spot on tactic, right? De Zerbi's changed things up because he knows that you've got four defenders that are not really centre, or none of them are centre backs. Not familiar playing each other, against a lot of pace, a lot of trickery in players like João Pedro, and a lot of strength in players like James Milner. Just bypass the midfield, go over the top, and Tottenham weren't expecting it, and Tottenham got punished. And like I say, could have been 4 or 5-0. So if Tottenham were naive, then Brighton were brilliantly tactile, brilliantly tactical.
But is this a worry, Sean? I feel like
By the way, is my mic better? Sorry, my mic wasn't plugged
it's
in.
better now than it was. Yeah. Something
okay.
wasn't right, but I just put it down to you waking up. I thought that might be your morning voice. Is it what I'm starting to notice? Play well, play badly, whatever. I think teams really are adapting to play us, working out how you get in behind Spurs. I think people are working it out very quickly.
Mate, I said this at the start of the season.
I know you did. I know you did.
Like 10 games, I was like, well, the key here is to figure out, is to work out who's going to get better first. Is it going to be do the players understand the deeper levels of Ange ball? Do they accelerate their learning of it faster than the sample size expands enough for other managers and coaches to figure out how to play against it? And for me, I think we're starting to see the answer.
Yeah, because again, it's like I watched closely last night. I say I watched closely. I watched every game closely. I like to think. I think what a lot of people are realizing is that Porro and Udogie, obviously they're not traditional fullbacks, right? They're not traditional fullbacks that their first fault is to defend. And I think teams are exploiting those gaps very easily. Now, we knew that was going to happen. We talked about this in the summer, Sean. We knew this was going to happen. But I think a lot of teams are cottoning on. And when I looked at what De Zerbi did yesterday, how much Milner had time on the left, right? Pulling out wide to the left. How much Hinchelwood had time on the right. They get a lot of joy, not just Brighton. Everton were doing it as well with Jack Harrison and McNeil. They're getting in behind the fullbacks because our fullbacks are asked to play almost inverted. I think it's an issue. I do think it's an issue. I think that teams slowly but surely are working out we can get a Spurs. Now, yes, you've got centre-halves out injured, but that can't be everything. Your whole tactics don't revolve around two centre-halves. We're giving away far too many chances. We're losing the ball. Like yesterday, I don't know if you noticed this from the ground. Porro, the number of times that guy wants to give the ball away in our own half is scary.
Yeah, well, I think that's the bigger takeaway, mate. I think I agree with what you're saying, that there's a template that's emerging. There's a couple of templates that are emerging. One of them is how to play Tottenham at home. The other one's how to play Tottenham when we're not firing, right? And I think that look, I think the system is what it is. I've always maintained that you're going to give up opportunities when you turn over the ball.
Sure.
I was saying, like, I don't think Ollie Skip's the right guy to start in this game because I think he's terrible passer of the ball. And if you're going to have these back four that are naive, that haven't played too much together, and they're not really a back four anyway, then you need to keep the ball against Brighton, because when they get the ball, they're going to be creative with it. And unfortunately, Tottenham couldn't keep the ball. It didn't matter that Ollie Skip wasn't there. Højbjerg gave the ball away. I thought Højbjerg actually after the game, I thought he played was one of our worst players. But actually, having watched it back, I actually think he is probably one of our better players. But Porro gave the ball away loads. Udogie couldn't keep hold of the ball. Udogie's worst performance in the Tottenham shirt for me by far.
I agree.
Becky couldn't touch the ball. Richarlison's first touch. Welcome back to, like, worst touch in Premier League football territory. He's so bad.
Compare his centre-forward performance last night to João Pedro's.
Yeah.
Now, João Pedro, for me, yes, he's got to work on his finishing. But in terms of hold-up play, dribbling with the ball, that's what you want from a centre-forward. Hold the ball up, bring others into the game. What I noticed yesterday, Sean, I noticed that we did the watch-along for Everton together. I said this to you loads during the game. Every time the ball goes forwards, that front three of Richarlison, Johnson and Son, it just comes back because none of them can hold the ball up. None of them hold the ball up, bring others into the game and say, right, push up with us. Brighton did that magnificently yesterday, whether it was, Danny Welbeck was brilliant. Danny Welbeck, João Pedro.
He always plays well again. He's a big unit, Danny Welbeck, by the way. Yeah. I had no idea how big. He's a massive guy. A couple other sort of takeaways I want to give credit, because I do think that on a different day, not only could it have been we could have been 6-0 down, relatively early in the second half if they took their chances, but we had our chances as well and we didn't take it. But I think that this is Tottenham's system depends on Tottenham clicking. It depends on Tottenham getting to the first ball, having a good first touch, a soft touch, and then everyone being in sync with each other. And what I saw in the first 25 minutes of the game was like so many unique positional plays. Everyone was being so fluid. You had Decky coming out deep onto the left, Udogie kind of almost playing as like a central midfielder, like a second 8. You had Højbjerg sitting back as like a third defender and spreading Emerson Royal and Ben Davies. I'd never seen the fluidity in the positional play in any game this season like I did in the first half. And I think it was confusing. I don't think any of the Tottenham players knew where any of the other Tottenham players were going to be at the right time. And so there was that kind of having to second guess. There's a lot of loose passes, a lot of just like misdirections. And I think that stuff is a problem. Like if Tottenham are going to outscore, which is the methodology, right? We're going to score more than you. We're going to give up chances, but we're going to take calculated risk. If Tottenham are going to score, you need to keep hold of the ball. And we didn't yesterday. So whilst
or buy some goal scorers.
Yeah.
Buy some goal scorers.
The other thing I think that just quickly I'm worried about a little bit is De Zerbi was spectacular. He set up Brighton from corner kicks. Now, I know we haven't conceded a corner kick this year, which is a miracle. But Brighton knew that we were going to go zonal 4-3-2 in the line. And I put a picture out on Twitter asking someone to explain it to me because I thought it looked absolutely shocking. You had 7 Tottenham players marking nobody, and you had Sonny, after the ball was kicked, you had Sonny marking Lewis Dunk and Pascal Gross, right? And they're 2 of the biggest guys, and Sonny's the worst header of the ball. And it wasn't by accident. Tottenham are low, like we're not great in the air, so you go and set up an area against a bigger team, you're going to go and do a zonal marking system.
Yeah.
But Brighton knew that if that's what they're going to do, then where's Sonny? Put 2 big guys at the back post near Sonny, and you're going to have aerial dominance. And then all you got to do is put it in the right area, and you're going to have chances. And that's exactly what happened when they hit the post when they could have gone 2-0 up. So again, I worry a little bit about players, like smart coaches, figuring this stuff out.
Mate, I completely agree with you. Listen, I think what's important, people in the chat, some people go, oh, it's a meltdown after. No meltdown, we're just analysing the game. By the way, I don't think that this is, the worrying thing for me, Sean, is that this is from the 30th minute when we said that that switch flicked against Everton, it carried right the way through. So this isn't, oh, it was a bad day at the office, not to worry. This for me is now 2 games in a row where we played like that. I thought we were really bad against Forest, if I'm brutally honest. I know we got the win. But
I thought we were terrible against Forest as well.
I think this is now 3 games other than that 30-minute first spell against Everton where we don't look good. Now, people can talk about injuries, but Brighton had a ton of injuries as well. So I don't want to put everything on that. You know, people can talk about being tired, Sean. But as you said, look, Brighton play midweek. Brighton play midweek and weekends. They're balancing.
Yeah, they play 2 games a week for 4 months. We played 2 games a week for three days.
Right, exactly. So for me, the question I would ask more than anything is, we talked about our managers figuring it out. Do we need a plan B? Lots of people talk about this, that he's only got a plan A and then plan B is to do plan A better.
Yeah.
In this modern day, do you need a different plan? I.e., at halftime yesterday, you've seen what Brighton are doing. Do you need to go, right, guys, this isn't working. This isn't working. We need to go X, Y, Z. Do we need something different within the game?
I think we did. I think we started in the second half. We did start the second half better. I think there was tweaks. But I'd also, so look, to answer your question directly, I personally think that there does need to be a plan B, but I'm also on board with the fact that there isn't going to be one. I'm also, I love Ange Ball. I love Ange. I know this is a bump in the road. I'm happy to shake hands with him. And if that's what he wants to do, I'll get on board it. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to analyze and critique situations as they pop up. What I'd also say is, Ali Gold asked Ange in the pre-match press conference, what's changed with Vicario? He's starting to kick the ball long from goal kicks. Is that by design, or are the players just taking that on themselves? And he said, no, it's the players just doing what they think is right. He goes, we can train the players, but during the game they have to also have the intelligence to kind of do what they think is right. So maybe Vicario, as an example, is trying to implement his own plan B, even though Ange is saying, that's not.
Yeah, it's not what I want you to do. But yeah.
You know?
I mean, sometimes it's needed though. One of the things we saw yesterday was, I say we saw it yesterday. We've seen it loads of times. Emerson Royal, for example, Vicario plays the ball short to Royal, who's not capable of controlling a ball, taking a touch, and playing out from the back. And in those circumstances, I can understand them when Vicario's thinking, all right, let me knock this long.
It's different with Romero. Romero's best asset as a defender is his passing. I know people might not agree with me, but he's one of the best I think he's the best passing centre back in the Premier League. He's great at tackling when he gets it right. He's a monster, with his aggression, all that stuff. But for me, his best asset is his passing. He cuts through, he zips through the midfield with like absolutely pinpoint accurate 60-mile-an-hour hit low passes into midfield. It's a brilliant way to get balls going. Emerson Royale doesn't have that. Ben Davies doesn't have that. And so when you don't have that and you're playing out from the back, you're more liable to give the ball away. Sloppiness ensues. And I think also the confidence that Pedro Porro has when he's got Romero next to him. He knows he can get into the corner and then sort of work his way out with one-twos and triangles and stuff. Just don't think that stuff can happen quite as fluently. It is what it is, though, mate. Like, like at the end of the day, like we haven't got Romero now for 5 weeks.
Yeah, of course.
We don't, I'm hoping that on Monday morning we're going to get a nice a late Christmas present.
Got to,
and you're going to see someone coming in. For what it's worth, like Dragusin, if he's the guy. When I did my analysis on Radu Dragusin, short passing is not one of the strengths that I saw.
Yeah,
he's got a good long ball on him. He's got a good ping, and he's a good defensive tackler. But he's not. I don't think he's someone that's on the same level as Romero or anything like that with his short passing accuracy. So I'm not. If that's the guy, everyone's saying that he's the guy we've agreed to deal with. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I've seen a few people say lately that what we've got to do is, if it is, for example, a Todibo, that this needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like
Todibo would be amazing. He would fill me with confidence, but I don't think that's going to happen.
But if it was going to happen, I mean, I listen. You know me. I have massive reservations about whether that sort of signing will happen. If it is going to happen, it can't be a 30th of January thing. This needs to be the window opens Monday. He's in North London. We've agreed a fee because the problem is, I think everyone's got a bit. I think everyone went a bit carried away anyway, Sean. I think everyone's got a bit carried away about how good the actual summer was. When people are going, oh, look how differently we've signed players. When I broke it down earlier, Sean, and you might tell me I'm a bit harsh here, but I think other than Vicario, Maddison, and Van der Ven, I think the other 5 signings are massively underwhelming. Like Kulu was already here, but Brennan Johnson for me is a massively underwhelming signing when I'm seeing West Ham sign players like Mohamed Kudus for the same money.
In terms of value for money at the moment, he looks.
I just think even as a footballer, even if we pay 30 million for
I'm
Brennan Johnson, I think he looks like massively underwhelming. Valise and Phillips, okay, cool. We could say they're for the future, but okay, at that time we needed players for now. Solomon, he's okay. He's a rotation in and out player. So when you actually break down that window, 3 of the 8 have come in and made us instantly better. The others,
which is no small thing though, to sign 3 players that have infinite, like have materially improved your first team is pretty good. Still pretty good.
Sure, but in a window as well, when you think we've lost Harry Kane in that window as well.
Yeah.
I just think that we could have done so much more. Now we've got the chance again. And look, Sean, we'll be saying.
I think Brendan Johnson was a massive punt, but I also think it comes down to the homegrown, like because I was having this conversation with you yesterday. I think.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be Brendan Johnson if it's going to be homegrown, does it?
Well, I know exactly right, but you look at the homegrown numbers we have. We've got 7 or 8 homegrown players that are over the age of 21.
Yep.
Who of them are actually desirable for the present and the future? It's Maddison and in Brendan Johnson.
No, sure.
That's it.
But the problem you've got there is if I sit on the fence with this one, right? Harry Kane has just left the club. Now, I'm not worried about Harry Kane leaving. All summer, I thought he was going to leave. I did, right? All summer, I said he is going to go, right? So it's not about Kane going. Problem is when Kane goes and you bring in the next forward player that you bring in, I think, listen, you're not going to sign a Harry Kane. If there's Harry Kanes out there, they're going to be 200 million and they're not signing for Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
But you've at least got to go and get a forward. You've at least got to go and get someone that's proven, been there, seen it, done it, or exciting. Or we've gone out and spent 49 million on Brendan Johnson, who, let's be brutally honest, his control of a football is dreadful, right? His first touch is awful. Technically, I don't think he's got it. But every now and then he puts in a cross and people go, oh, Brendan Johnson's good.
You know what is about him though, mate? I think you have to, I think as of right now, I think I saw Stell put a tweet out about Brendan Johnson, and I echo him because I think you have to. I think you got a bunch of pelters in the in the comments to his tweet saying like you're writing off Brennan Johnson, like blah, 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 you're talking nonsense, terrible take. But he's not. He's saying thus far, like as of now.
Yeah, as of now.
And I think that the problem is but he is a pace merchant, but he's been asked to show his style of play for Forest that sits deep and then breaks, right? And so if you're a pace merchant and that's what you do, and then you can run and you've got space and then you can finish, and he can finish, he can fight, he knows where to find the side of the net, then you've got a player that can do that. The question mark for me is you've signed a player that's only shown his promise in systems that we don't like. How often
we don't play?
You play a high line. You're not often going to have situations where you've got lots of space in behind to have the pace merchant thing to lean into. So you have to look at Brennan Johnson and go, is he adaptable? Does he have the capability to learn new skills and to play this system? And I think I've seen an improvement in him. So I think that
I don't think I have. I think he looks so. Sorry, just me, Sean. Difference of opinion.
Right,
For me, I watch him and I just think, again, I always go back to, if I'm a left back, I'm loving playing against Brennan Johnson. I don't think he's got anything to hurt me. All right, he's quick. He's quick.
So it's the question mark for me is, if you're paying £50 million for a player that thus far in his career has only proven to be adaptable, capable in one particular style that isn't your style, then why are you paying £50 million in the hope that he can learn and adapt to a new system? That to me is like you're paying for perfection. Same like an Evan Ferguson, different scenario, but you're paying £100 million for an 18-year-old. You're baking in perfection. There's no room for error in that valuation. For me, there's no room for error in Brennan Johnson's valuation. And there's a lot of speculation as to whether he can learn this system. I'm not sure he can. What frustrates me more than anything about him when I watch him at games, when I'm live, because I can obviously not necessarily seeing that on TV, but when the ball is somewhere else, what is he doing? He jogs. He's like he's like someone like me on the treadmill, right? Who's trying to run. I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm running, but I'm running at 7. So I could probably walk if I stretch my legs, but instead I'm sort of jogging up and down on the spot, thinking that I'm running, but in reality, I'm not really doing anything. And he just sort of jogs with his tiny little footsteps around in a circle and doesn't do anything. He doesn't press. He doesn't pressure. He doesn't come back and help defend. And even when we have the ball, at times he doesn't move. If the ball is somewhere else, the amount of times last night I was watching Udogie have the ball on the left, and Brennan Johnson is right out on the touchline on the right-hand side with 10 meters of space. And Udogie's looking up for someone to pass to. And Brighton have pressed everyone in the midfield, so there's no space there. Brennan Johnson should be coming back 5 feet, turning, and then running into the space behind, because there was the opportunity. And then Udogie could at least have an option to ping a diagonal ball. But he doesn't do it. He's not thinking,
I agree.
If the ball's not near me, then I don't have to be involved. So I'm just going to kind of drift off in my concentration.
For me, Sean, I think the difference is like Swanex here says the criticism of Johnson is a bit extreme. For me, it's not criticism of him. I didn't expect anything. I said this during the summer, right? I didn't expect anything from him, Sean, and I'm getting what I expected. I'm getting he's putting a couple of nice balls over the space of this season. I'm not doubting that. But in general, as a winger, I think the key thing here is, what do we want to be as a football club? If people can't tell me, up your expectations, Savva, and then get annoyed at me when I don't think players are good enough to get us to that expectation. For me, I think Brennan Johnson, his level is mid-table. I do. I think he's a mid-table footballer. That every game, every 3 or 4 games, I think you're going to get a moment from him. And then what will happen is fans will go, there you go, Brennan Johnson. But most players... Yeah, exactly. Most players, though, when you watch them game in, game out, give you trouble. Like, even if they're not scoring or assisting, they give you trouble. They make you think. He should be
looking at someone like Saka, right?
Yes.
I know Saka hasn't had a great season, but he should be looking at what Saka does when Arsenal have the ball in different areas of the pitch and when Arsenal don't have the ball. Watch Saka. He's always moving. He's always trying to create. Hello, Stewie or Frank? Who's that?
This is Stewie.
Hi, Stewie. How you doing,
Just
mate?
got him from a walk. Look how tired he is. He's got his teeth out and everything. Look, he's ugly, isn't he?
He's like stunned. Oh, I can't do that anymore, Mum. Can't do that anymore, Dad.
Look, you tired? You tired, mate? Cute. Good boy.
Yeah.
Go and see Mummy. Yeah.
To be honest,
you're right. You're right.
I feel like he needs to observe some of the better right wingers.
Yes.
And watch what they're doing when the ball isn't near them. when they have it or they don't have it, right? And Saka is someone that works. He's always trying to find space. He's always looking to see where there's an opportunity for me to get on the ball here. Even if the ball is at the left, at Zinchenko's feet, Saka is coming back and then making runs, or he's coming deep to receive it and then driving at players. Brennan Johnson doesn't do any of that. If the ball is not given to him, he's not looking for it. And that, to me, is an issue.
I agree. And look, the key thing here is, and we're only analysing, right? But listen, for me, I don't think it's overly harsh criticism because I didn't want him. I was very vocal about not wanting Brennan Johnson. The problem is when people say things like, oh, it's harsh, he's young, he'll learn. The problem is if we're going to whack £50 million down on players, at what point can we expect that for £50 million that we're gonna see a really good footballer? You can't keep
£50 million not a lot of money anymore, is it, mate? You know?
But you say that. Look at.
I know Diaby's a great example. I know.
Kudus is the better example for me, right? Yeah. If we have a look at Kudus, forget the goals and assists because that's what these people are paid to do, right? But if we look at Kudus at West Ham, right, he is only where is it? Mohamed Kudus. Can I find? There we go. Mohamed Kudus is 23, so he's a year older than Brennan Johnson. Watch him play. Technically good, strong. Pace, power, links up well.
He's formed relationship. Exactly. The link up play with him and Paquetá, how do you say his name, is incredible. But they can be that fluid. Joe Bowen, Paquetá, Souček, and him could just all pivot and go in different directions, but they understand each other. You know, Brennan Johnson, for me, hasn't even tried to form a relationship with Pedro Porro yet. Hasn't even tried to form a relationship with Papa Sarr. He's, like I said, watch what he does when he doesn't have the ball. If you go to a live game, it's difficult to do it on the TV. If the camera's not on him, you can't see it, right? But if you go to live games, keep an eye on him. I watched it at Wolves. I was astonished how bad he was off the ball at Wolves. He just stood there, and even when the ball was near him, when Wolves had it, he was just doing that little trotting on the spot thing, making out like he's trying to get involved, but he wasn't. I've got massive reservations about him because that's about footballing IQ. That's about desire to be involved. And that's why my takeaway for him right now is that he's scared. I think I said it last week. I think he's scared. He goes hiding. And
can I tell you what it reminds me of?
By the way, because people said to me, "Oh, you're singling Brennan Johnson out." I'm not, but loads of them.
No, they were all poor. Can I tell you what he reminds me of at the moment? He reminds me of a right wing version of Sessegnon. Frail, 100%. Scared. Rabbit in 100%. Headlights, gets the ball, doesn't want to overcommit. Now, my worry with this is
it's a great example.
We can say, okay, he's nearly 23, right? We can say, yes, he's 22, but this is a guy who's been a professional footballer for many years now. He's an international footballer. For 50 million, I just think when everyone at the time, remember like Ali Gold and all those came out and what, I don't know what the exact phrase was, but I remember we stringed a lot on the transfer deadline day together. And I think it was something along the lines of, this is Ange's number one target. Mm-hmm. Now, if that's your number one target, I worry. I worry. Why would this guy be the number one target when you've had all summer, you've had players like Kudus who are available?
But you know what, Kudus, right? No one would, we were all talking about him because he did so well at the World Cup, right? Everyone was talking about him going, this guy's going to be the next thing. We should all be looking at him. I remember doing videos about him. I'm sure you did videos about him from memory. But then West Ham just sort of got him. There was no battle for his signature.
No,
it was so strange. No one, none of the big teams were going in for him. And yet he just ended up at West Ham and West Ham didn't even have a fight on their hands. And they've got an absolute cracking player. And
who won't be there for too many years, who won't be there for too long. I can assure you, him and Paquetá will not be there.
Yeah, well, okay, fine. But if they sell Paquetá for 90 million quid and they sell Kudus for 85 million quid in 2 years' time or in the next 18 months, then West Ham can go again. And you know what? On recent history, West Ham have spent their big money sales. They've recycled that money incredibly well.
They really, I mean, when you look at what they did, West Ham, losing Declan Rice, everyone said, oh, West Ham have finished it. West Ham now have an actual team better. Like Ward-Prowse and Alvarez being bought into that midfield three has re-energized Souček as well. Right? Yeah. The midfield, putting Bowen up front instead of out wide is a masterstroke. Quality player, Jared Bowen. Quality football. I'd love him. Kudus and Paquetá aren't natural wingers. So they float about. They cause problems. They create. I like what he's done there. And hats off to them, Sean.
No,
West
I
Ham,
said it, mate.
they're 3 points behind us. They're
Mate,
3
they're
points
brilliant
behind
team.
us, Sean.
And they're juggling Europe. And you know what?
And playing Europe. Yeah.
That's what I mean. And I'm going to close my window. They're they are a really, really, really tidy little team right now. I think they've won 10 of their last 14 games. They've only lost twice. I know they got pumped by who was it? Fulham and someone else.
They lost 5-0 to Fulham, but other than that, they've beaten us.
Blip,
they've beaten
right?
Arsenal.
Yeah. Really well run team. And you know, but the interesting thing will be whether they do anything in January to give them a little bit more options if they need it. But then also, because I think they're third or fourth favourites to win the Europa League, right?
Yeah.
But they could do a Roma.
Moyes is a very good manager that gets so much stick. He's a very, very good manager. Even like last night, I think they had to change their 2 centre halves. Normally their centre halves. Normally their centre halves are Aguerd. Hang on, let's just double check that I'm not lying here. Normally their centre halves are Aguerd and Zuma. And last night they had to play Ogbonna and Mavropanos.
Mavropanos is a good player, by the way. I like Mavropanos.
Right. And then I'll ask the question then. So how have West Ham managed to get themselves 4 centre halves that can all play? And Tottenham Hotspur, with the money we got for Harry Kane, have left ourselves with Davis, Royale, and Dyer as our free. Like, for me,
I think the problem was getting rid of Eric Dyer, right? That was he dug his feet into, like Bugsy does when she doesn't want to go any further. She dug her feet into the ground, and that's it. I'm sure Frank and Stewie do it occasionally, right? Like,
I'm currently watching Frank and Stewie getting a bath from the wife, and it's so funny because Frank loves being dried afterwards. See, Frank loves it. Runs into the tap. Stewie absolutely hates it. Runs away, and yet the one that dries quicker is Frank. Anyway, sorry, it's got nothing to do with anything. But the thing is, Sean, for me, right? I mean, I'm gonna bring this up again. I've got a few questions we're going to go to. And by the way, thank you to everyone that has subscribed. Everyone's been very generous today. Thank you very much. If you would like to subscribe, please do, and go and subscribe to Spurs Talk Show. Sean is going along nicely, so please go and help him grow even more. Let's look at the Premier League table, mate. I did show it just now to everyone else, but I mean, when you look at West Ham United, 3 points behind Tottenham Hotspur. What a job David Moyes has done. And does this make the Bournemouth game even more important? And the reason I say that is Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa and City all have games they should win. Now, we know that's not always how it works, but they all have games they should win. Yeah. Right? If West Ham and Man United win as well, we've got to win that just to really keep on those coattails, right? Because otherwise we're going to find ourselves left back in the 6th, 7th, 8th race, aren't we? So it's a real big game, the Bournemouth game now. It's a huge game.
Mate, Bournemouth, I'm sorry, but players like Semenyo, players like Solanke, Justin Kluivert and Tavernier, right? They've found this little, you talk about West Ham's chemistry in their front four, Bournemouth have found chemistry in their front four. If they're not looking at, especially if Tottenham are tired, they gave all they could tonight and they've got to play again in 72 hours time and it's going to be the same 11 because no one's back. If Ange is sincere when he says that the players are shattered, they've given all they can, too many games at a high tempo, which is what we ask of them in too few days, which again, I'll go back to the first thing I said. That is a crazy, crazy concern for me that, you know, I mean, thank God January it lightens up a little bit on the fixtures for us, but like 4 games in 2 weeks is not that bad considering we haven't got Europe and Bournemouth are licking their lips, mate.
I mean, they'll be excited players. Can I just say, I think, Sean, you know, when we talk about like the criticism, I don't think he's listened to what I've said here. I didn't say they were the same footballer. I said I'm seeing the same traits.
Similarities, yeah. Like
I'm seeing similarities.
A lot of physical, but then just a little bit of a kind of a mentality block where he just goes missing. It's not a comparison in the footballer. It's just similarity.
I think Brennan Johnson's a better footballer than Cess. I'm talking about the whole rabbit in headlights, looks scared, looks frail. I feel like people... Listen, by the way, Swanich, you're saying it's 13 games. Sean will back me up on this right now. I sat there in the summer and said, I've watched this guy loads for Forest. I do not want him. This isn't 13 games. I said this.
I was against him, and then I lightened up on it because I've spoken to a couple of Welsh fans who I know who are also Nottingham Forest fans. And I raised my concerns, the same concerns you had, and they were like, no, you just don't. This guy is like a sponge. The only reason you've seen that side of him is because that's all he's been asked to play for both teams, for Wales and Nottingham Forest. When asked to do something else, he will learn and figure it out. And I'm really hoping that those two are correct. You know what? Apart from, because yesterday I thought he was atrocious. Against Everton, I thought he was poor. But in the games before that, the 2 games before, Newcastle and who did you play before Everton? Newcastle and Forest. I actually thought Brennan Johnson was pretty good, and I think you could see that he'd been asked to do more driving at driving at the left back and kind of whipping balls in, and I can see him learning, but
hopefully
that doesn't change the fact that he goes missing. And like I say, you have to watch him live to see what I see that might not be caught on camera on the TV screen. He just when the ball's not near him, it's like he's daydreaming and he's just jogging around on the spot, not involved in the game.
How are you doing for time before I know what subjects to fit in? How are you doing for time?
I'm fine, mate. Crack on,
okay, cool. If anyone knows what that's from, as always, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Cool. Look, a couple of subjects we spoke about earlier I'm going to get to in a minute. Before we do, just want to get to a couple of comments. Donna Cullen, as always. It's so worrying. I mean, you're always here. You're always good fun. I wish I was Stewie and Mr. Savva kissed me like that.
What is that? What is that currency? Is that Indian rupees?
I think so, yeah. I don't think it's Donna Cullen. I just got a hunch that I don't think it is Donna Cullen. Big up to whoever this account is. Don't be jealous of me kissing a pug. I'm not sure that's where jealousy stakes should be. Hasper, big up bro, has said, is someone going to talk about the lack of discipline in the squad? This is one of the things I'm going to bring up with Sean in a minute. So hold that thought, Sean. And Premier Hotspur TV, big up to you, has said, morning, Savva and Sean. A question to you guys. Do you think Tottenham take enough gambles in the transfer market? Because look at West Ham, for example. They took some gambles and it's paid off. Sean, what do you think? I mean, when we say gambles, I mean, for me, I think West Ham, I don't think they did take gambles. I think West Ham went for Alvarez, who everyone knew at Ajax was a very good player. Kudus, everyone knew was a good player. Ward-Prowse knows the Premier League inside out. You know what you're going to get from him.
I think he was the smartest. He was the smartest one because I don't know what West Ham's homegrown is, but homegrown is such a factor. And I think Tottenham are limited by the amount of remember that Pape Sarr comes homegrown for us next year, but then Destiny Udogie goes as one of the non-homegrown players next year when he comes 22, right? So you lose one, you win one kind of thing. But I don't know who West Ham's home. If you can anyone let us know?
I'll find that for you. There you go.
Jared Bowen's one. Ward-Prowse is another.
West Ham. So West Ham, English players that West Ham have got. They've got 2 goalkeepers called Joseph Anang and Jacob Knightsbridge. They've got a couple of young defenders. I don't know how young they are if they count. They've got Aaron Cresswell, Benjamin Johnson. They've got loads of kids, by the way. James Ward-Prowse, Jared Bowen, Danny Ings, Mabamba Divin, Callum Marshall. Yeah, I think I don't know because I don't know the ages of some of those kids, but they look like they need a couple as well, if I'm honest.
Danny Ings is one, right? Antonio plays for Jamaica, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he'll be homegrown, right?
He'll be homegrown, yeah.
I'm sure Antonio will be homegrown.
They've got players, and Aaron Cresswell, of course, yeah. But I think that they're not in the same boat in terms of homegrown. So that they have the opportunity to go and, you go and get a Kudus for 40 million. The reason why Brennan Johnson is 50 million quid rather than 25 million quid is because he comes from Wales and Nottingham Forest rather than, Ajax's youth academy, for example. So you add that homegrown. This is the same reason why I was saying Dominic Solanke. I got absolute murder on my comments when I did a video about Dominic Solanke, and I said he's probably worth 70 million quid. Everyone was like somewhere between 70 and 80. I initially said 90. I said no, he's probably 70 to 80. It's because you've got 2 factors there that multiply on each other. You've got the fact that he's homegrown, which immediately adds 25% to whatever his real value is, and then on top of that, he's a striker, and strikers are in high demand, short supply. So that multiplies again. So you end up with a player that Bournemouth have got absolutely no desire to lose because he's their best player anyway. But on top of that, everyone needs a striker, and he is a good one. And he's homegrown. And if you get a homegrown player in like him, then Bournemouth have to go and pay money to replace the homegrown their side. So it's this homegrown rule for me it frustrates the life out of me. If you're a good enough player, and you happen to be from England even if an English team doesn't want you because they've gone and bought a player from Zimbabwe, you can still go and get a you can still go and find a team in Spain that will pay your wages. Like, I don't understand why there's a homegrown thing. I mean, I do understand it, but I just don't think it's necessary, or they should loosen the rules in it a little bit, because it creates this inflation in the prices of players as well, which is unsustainable.
I agree. I mean, look, if we quickly go through the squad, and by the way, Spurs started a game last night with not one English player in the lineup. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to create a quiz question here. I don't know when was the last time that happened, but last night, not one English player in our starting 11. Look, when we look at these players, Sean, you've got what? From that page, you've got Skip is 1. James Maddison is 2.
I can tell you our homegrown players. You've got the 2 goalkeepers, Alfie Whiteman and Austin. You've got Ollie Skip, Ryan Sessegnon, James Maddison, Brennan Johnson, and that's it. And Ben Davies. That's the 7. Right. So of those 7 players, Alfie Whiteman and Brandon Austin are stealing a living. Let's be honest. Right? They're 25 years old. They're probably getting paid 10, 20 grand a week, but they haven't touched the game of competitive football. What are they doing with their careers? At some point, you have to kind of go, what are you doing here, guys? Like, go and if your level is League 2, go and play. Football. You know what you like? Do you want to are you just happy to pick up 5? I don't know how much they're getting paid, 5 grand a week, but I'm sure you could get the same. But at least go and try some competitive football. But Tottenham are happy to keep them because it makes the homegrown thing easier, even though they're never going to play. Ollie Skip is literally only here because he's homegrown.
Oh, right? Without a doubt.
Brennan Johnson, we paid 50 million quid for him because he's homegrown. Ryan Sessegnon is here because he's homegrown, despite the fact that he's injured. It's a shambles, which is why I'm an advocate for us trying to get someone in like a Conor Gallagher, even though it's going to cost a lot of money.
I agree with Conor Gallagher.
The homegrown value thing allows you to have easier conversations around getting rid of Ryan Sessegnon or getting rid of Ben Davies, even though I think Ben Davies is fine as a squad player for the time being. I think you can't think Rome wasn't built in a day. But Ryan Sessegnon, that guy's stealing a living, right? And he needs to go somewhere else if he can play, if he can stay fit. I think his career will be forever blighted by injuries. But you bring in a homegrown player of high quality. Yes, you have to pay, suck up the cost of doing it, but then you can go and do some better work.
Do you know what?
Identifying non-homegrown players for cheap. Find the value add somewhere else. You go and get that guy Rooney Bargy or whatever it is, if that's the guy you fancy, or Antonio Nusa, whoever it is. You can go then to the foreign market as long as you know that your homegrown level is upped, and someone like Conor Gallagher is a level up in our homegrown number.
Do you know the thing is with Conor Gallagher? I mean, look, I think you make a wonderful point. Sometimes when we're looking at the signings we're making, I think you have to know what they're there for, right? For me, Conor Gallagher is a perfect Ange Postecoglou footballer. He is a guy with whatever you think of Conor Gallagher, he's got a fantastic engine. And what you do get from him, every game, he gives 100%. Whether or not Chelsea are good or not, he gives 100%. He can play in multiple positions in midfield. He
would have been perfect last night, mate.
Right.
His energy would have been like, he wins a ball back, and then suddenly everyone's like, bang, we're back in. That's what you need. You need something just to kind of spice things up a little bit. Sorry.
No, mate, listen, that's where I was going with it. I agree. When I look at last night and I look at, if you're going to have a Højbjerg in a team that want to press and that want to harry, it's not going to work. Kulusevski, for his ability, I don't think he's that type of player. Yes, he works hard, but has he got the engine to get around the pitch like a Conor Gallagher would? Yes, you might have to pay 40, 50 million, but you've got a player for 5 years, homegrown, does a job. And the key thing for me, Sean, that I think a lot of people are missing, we look at it, right? Someone made a good point there. Of the top 9 in the league, I want to just verify this is correct. Of the top 9 in the Premier League, right, we are the only ones not in Europe, right? Every single one of those other clubs, I'm not going to get into who's got worse, but every one of those teams has got bad injuries. Whether it's Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Liverpool, Villa, whoever, everyone's got injuries. They're all playing twice a week. Now, when we go next season in Europe, let's assume we get Europe. This squad's going to have to multiply. This squad's going to have to grow massively. And people like Conor Gallagher that may not be everybody's first choice, may not be, the silky smooth football that everyone wants to see. I bet you if you sign a Gallagher and next season you're rotating players like him in and out in Europe, people will be bloody grateful for it.
Yeah.
I bet you.
Especially,
sometimes it's bigger picture.
Zoom out, especially when you hear Ange last night. And again, I don't know whether he's just like, we're all emotional after a loss. You know, the amount of times that I say things immediately after Wolves, I was fuming. The next day I drove home, I was a little bit more relaxed about it.
Yeah, of course.
So I know that you might say things, but he said that the what we asked of these players, our system is you know, I guess he's suggesting that that Ange ball is the most taxing of any system in the Premier League, more taxing than Arsenal's, more taxing than City's. I don't know how it can be, but if it is, it is fine. He knows more than I do. But if
do you know
why
it is? Do you know why it's more taxing than teams like City? If you look at the difference, because exactly. There's a huge difference, right? So, like with Man City, people go, "Oh, their style of play is boring. They pass too much." The difference is, Man City are tiring out their opposition. They're making them chase and chase. When you keep the ball, so I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, but it's obvious, right? When you keep the football, the other team gets tired.
We have 60% possessions. We have 60% possessions, right? And then we're still shattered. You know,
you know why? It's because maybe we try to do everything 100 miles per hour.
Yeah,
City will do everything their pace. You watched the other night. We watched the game. We watched some of it together against Everton. There's sometimes when they play it across the back slowly into midfield, and you're thinking, right, when's the killer pass? Pass, move people out of position, and then go. Spurs is go 100 miles an hour. It's 100 miles an hour. That's fine. But then when you lose the ball, you're going to have way more opportunities coming back at you like that. And I think if you're going to do that,
that's why someone like Conor Gallagher,
is
a perfect signing. I know he's not the perfect player, right? But the perfect player that can do all of the things that we just espoused that you need, and is also one of the very greatest passers of the ball, and who contributes goals more than Conor Gallagher. Those sorts of players don't exist. They're unicorns, and if they do exist, they're not going for 50 million quid. They're going for 100 million pound. And you've seen the quality of 100 million pound players. The market has established that good players that don't necessarily work that well cost 100 million pound, like Caicedo, like Enzo. Declan Rice. Declan Rice's passing last night. I know everyone thinks Declan Rice is. And I'm not saying he's not a brilliant player. He is a fantastic player.
Yeah, he had an off game last night, from what I saw. He had an off game. But again,
he's not the perfect player.
Sure, when we say things like this, like Kieran, I appreciate what you're saying, but when we say he's just another player that likes to run around a lot and kick people, look, Kieran, we can't have it both ways. Whenever I say, I think Ange needs a plan B, and people go, no, this is Ange's style. Cool. If that is Ange's style, you've got to litter it with people that can do it. Right?
Exactly. 100%.
And the problem is, it's like buying, if you're going to buy a player, like you would never buy a Højbjerg if we didn't already have him. You wouldn't buy him for Ange's system because he hasn't got the legs on him. You need players like Gallagher that can. Now, to say he just runs around a lot and kicks people, watch Chelsea play. He doesn't. I watched him the other night against Crystal Palace, and he was good on the ball. He was picking it up deep, driving forward with the ball, which is what we saw from the likes of Basuma. He was getting in the tackle. He was good in the air. I think this is one of those comments, no offense, Kieran, where it's someone said he just kicks people because he does every now and then, and that's all he is. And I don't think that's
disciplinary issues. He does get booked. Like the easiest money you'll ever make if you like to do a bet builder is if Chelsea are playing, put a yellow card on Conor Gallagher, right? So that, I know we've got a discipline issue. I know you want to talk about that, so maybe it's a good segue. But like he is a disciplinary problem as well. He does have suspensions, but that again, if you've got, I justify the 50 million quid in an ideal world. I don't know how much money Juventus have got or Barcelona have got. I think the answer is not a lot. But if you could move on Lo Celso back to Spain and move on Højbjerg, I'll go back to the point, right? So when I was looking at the amount of midfielders you've got, if you're now considering Decky as a midfielder, then you, in order of any particular order, but I'm going to try and get the best players in. You've got Bentancur, Decky, Maddison, Bissouma, and Sarr. You've got 5 classy midfielders in there that you're happy with, right? If you can add Conor Gallagher to that, that's 6. Then you've got, at the moment, you've got Højbjerg, Lo Celso, and Skip. Now, those 3 are basically not really desirable. But if you've got to keep Skip because of the homegrown thing, then if you can get rid of Højbjerg and Lo Celso for 40 million quid, 25 for Højbjerg, 15 for Lo Celso. I know it's all playing Football Manager.
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah,
if
of course.
you can do that, if you can find a way to do that, then you go from 9 midfielders to 8, and you brought in Ollie Skip. So you brought in Conor Gallagher, and Conor Gallagher is the 7th on that list. Like that's not that Conor Gallagher is, and you can put him in there. Like, come on, if Conor Gallagher is the 6th or 7th best midfielder you've got in your team, that's a bloody strong midfield.
I guarantee you, Sean, that if he signed Conor Gallagher, I reckon he'd play Gallagher more than not. I can see from his style of play. From his style of play. Yeah. And by the way, when we're saying the player we're describing as Bentancur, Lee, what Sean's just described, you can't have one, can't have two.
You need 6.
Next year in Europe, right? Next year in Europe, what we can't do is say, oh, we don't want players like Gallagher. We don't want players like a Calvin Phillips, or just for example, because someone's mentioned him in the chat. And then when we get to Europa games or Champions League games, depending on what we're in, go, oh my God, Bentancur, Basuma and Sarr are getting burnt out. Well, yeah, of course they are, because they're going to play every midweek, every weekend. I think that we've got to get out of this mold of, are they the best player in the world? Should they start every game? And we need to start looking bigger. Yeah. Yeah. Before we move on to the disciplinary issues, I mean, somebody else is talking about, has mentioned, would you take a Calvin Phillips type? I mean,
not permanently. I'd like to try before you buy with him. I just don't know what sort of player he's become. I liked him when he was at Leeds. I thought he was a wonderful quarterback. He'd come deep into that, the way that Højbjerg does it, or tried to do it last night. Pick the ball up in the middle of the Leeds defense and then just spray balls around. I used to love him. I thought he was a little terrier. Really, really good player. I loved him in the Euros when we got to the final. Was it 2021, that Euros. I thought he was brilliant. But then since his Man City move, I've got, vanished, hasn't he? So I've got no idea. I've heard rumours he's put on about a stone in weight as well. Like, I don't know what sort of player we'd be buying there.
Don't you think he'd be the perfect loan? Again, Football Manager type stuff. The perfect loan stopgap for us. Yeah, between now and the end of the season.
Yeah,
for a team that have got. Listen, everyone say, well, when Bentancur's back. Listen, you've just seen proof. When Bentancur's back, like, yes, it was a different injury, but listen, people that keep talking about, but we're missing this player. You're gonna miss players. There's nothing to say that Bentancur, Madison, Van der Ven, Romero come back fit, and then all of a sudden Sonny's not out for 2 months and Porro's out for 2 months. You're going to have injuries, guys and girls, and it's about negating that as much as possible. At the moment, I think it's okay. I think it's okay when you're playing once a week. Next year, if you're playing European football, this squad, imagine if we were playing 2 games a week at the moment, Sean.
Yeah, we are, and look what's happened. We've got excuses from the manager that they're shattered.
And we've only been doing it for a week. Like, now imagine, look at Brighton. Like, that's why when people go to me, but Brighton have got this concept up, and Newcastle. Listen, Brighton, Newcastle. There's no coincidence that Brighton and Newcastle have dropped off from last year. Now that they've got to play in Europe as well, it's hard to balance it, because now all of a sudden Brighton and Newcastle can't just put out their best 11 on a Saturday and go and win games. Now they're having to go, oh, hang on, we've got Milan away. Oh, then we've got Man United at home. Then we've got this is what happens. So I think we need to think about that. Talking about Conor Gallagher, we talk about discipline. This all started by Hasper. Big up Has. Hope you're well, my friend. I saw some good pictures of you at the stadium, sitting in the manager's chair yesterday or the day before. And we will go for another 14 minutes, people, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I'll
go for a wee quickly, mate. Back in a second.
Yeah. You got to put your
hand up. I haven't almost followed through. Don't worry.
Yeah, and I think this is the key thing. Guys, as football fans, I always implore people, think bigger, right? Think bigger. Let's stop worrying about this year and a title race and once a week. Let's think bigger. We want to be a bigger club, a better club that teams fear. How do we build and grow that, aside from talking about this boring title challenge for 1 year? What do we need to add? What depth do we need to add? Yeah. We are very quick to shout down loads and loads of players, but you've got to build a squad at some point. And that squad can't have Skip. It can't have Højbjerg. So for me, I think we need to think a little bit smarter. We seem to say no to everyone. I'm seeing today people say, I wouldn't have Dunk, wouldn't have Tarkowski, wouldn't have Conor Gallagher. I'm looking at our squad thinking, what are you lot watching that I'm not watching? I'd take all 3 of those in a heartbeat. Yeah. And I'm thinking squad. I'm not always thinking first 11, because the first 11 of any big club should rotate. So for me, let's do that, right? Let's do that. Okay. So wait for Sean to come back. Then we'll talk about our disciplinary issue in a bit more detail. Please thank you to everybody that's liked. I've really enjoyed this morning's show. A much different outlook to last night. 225 likes. There's 315 of you in here. Let's get that to 300 likes. And thank you to absolutely everybody that has subscribed today. We've had 9 people subscribe today, which is really, really kind of you. If anyone else hasn't and would like to, the link is in the chat. I'll show you right here. There's the link. Smash that if you would like to. And we'll be back over the week. We've got 12 more minutes left. We'll be back over the weekend. There won't be a Spurs review on Sunday. Sean, are you doing Tottenham takes? Obviously, it's New Year's Eve. I'm not sure if you...
No, I'm going to the game, so I don't think I'll be back in time.
Game. There you go. So there'll be no Spurs review, no Tottenham takes. Get drunk, enjoy your New Year's Eves. Like Stewie, there he is. Look, Stewie looking at Frank's picture in disgust.
Sorry, just quickly. What's going on? New Year's Eve football?
I know, it's mad, isn't it? I know.
It really throws a spanner in the works for your plans if you have any. Not that I have any plans for New Year's Eve because I'm a lonely man, but you know.
Sean, you're more than welcome to come to mine for a few. We're just going to have some wine and cheese on New Year's Eve with a few friends. You're more than welcome to come, mate. Is that what time we're playing New Year's Eve? Is it 4:30?
I think so.
Let's have a look. Oh God! I mean, what? Hang on. Tottenham are playing Bournemouth at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. 4. That's better, isn't it?
I bet you there's a train strike as well because the people there are just very considerate.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Sean, we're going to go for 11 more minutes, and then I need to shower, and then I've got a stream 2 to 3, and then 3 o'clock. We're going off to our mates now. We're getting there at 4. They're being generous and letting us get there at 4. Sean, has Spur asked about discipline? Again, we're talking about this every week. We're getting players suspended for fun. Decky's now suspended for what for me was a completely needless foul that gave away a penalty. Lo Celso yesterday we saw.
What was that, by the way?
Getting involved with João Pedro for no reason. He's got to get a grip of this, and old Ange. He's got to get a grip of this discipline.
Look, I think there's a combination of factors here. I think that I think that the needless stuff needs to be cut out. But I also think that the tactics are also partly to play for some of the other things. The Bissouma red card against Forest. I don't think he's done that maliciously. Sure, I think the calculated risk of throwing people forward, and then sometimes if you lose the ball with a bad pass, you're left exposed at the back, and then the guys playing in the 6, in this case Bissouma, or anyone that's makeshift in that role, I think they sometimes have to take that calculated risk, and if they get it wrong, in the moment, it's just like a split second decision whether you're gonna make it or not. I think that the tactics kind of increase they increase the frequency of scenarios where you are going to face decisions where you have to take tactical fouls, or even if you're not trying to take tactical fouls, but your timing might be wrong. I think if you're playing a low, if you're like a West Ham or you're someone who does a low block, you're not going to be faced with the kind of higher frequency scenarios. So I think the system encourages it a little bit, but the petulant stuff is unnecessary. Like kicking the balls away and the diving that Bissouma got for his second yellow, all of that stuff is really weird, and I don't know what's going on there. I don't know how you cut that out when it comes. That's just players being silly. Romero, I think, has created a reputation for himself. Lewis Dunk, that tackle last night, I didn't see it obviously at the time in the game, but when I saw it when I got home, if that was Romero, he would be he'd be put in prison for life. He'd be on death row for doing something like that, like a straight red. I got no idea how that isn't reviewed by VAR. So I think that you've got a combination of like reputational things that are bubbled up. You've got a tactical thing that encourages sort of tolerated risk that then puts you in scenarios where you're going to have to make those decisions in a split second, then you're going to get some of them wrong. And then you've got the petulant stuff, which is unnecessary. I think you can cut out the petulant stuff by Well, I don't know. I've got no idea how you train that out of players. You just got to school them for it, I guess. You know. I mean, like Lo Celso ran over to João Pedro as João Pedro was getting
subbed off,
subbed off and said something, right? Like, what are you doing, mate? Well, I don't know what you're doing or why you did it. Like, but you're saying something to a guy that's leaving the pitch, so it's not like you're going to get any benefit out of it. But what you might have happened there was that you got a yellow card. Somewhere else in the first half, I don't remember who it was. I think it was. Was it Pape Sarr or Emerson Royale or someone? They shoved a Brighton player and the Brighton player shot.
Richarlison did as well, didn't he?
He was off the ball, so obviously nothing happened from it. But again, unnecessary stuff. I don't know how you train that out of the players. Well, what's your thoughts on it?
It's crazy because we've never had that before. And by the way, dude, listen, I don't believe this is true. I don't think it is only highlighted by the injuries. Our discipline has been absolutely shocking. We can keep saying the squad
we're the top of the disciplinary table, aren't we?
Yeah, or bottom, whichever way you want to look at it. Yeah. We've got the worst disciplinary in the league, and you're saying it's only highlighted by injuries. Listen, let's be brutally honest. When you miss players through suspension, when you've already got loads of injuries, at what point do the players go, okay, right, we need to be a little bit more careful here? Like last night, Kulu knows the injuries we've got and the suspensions we've got. At what point does he think to himself, because it was the penalty he got booked for, wasn't it?
I think so.
Right. At what point do you think to yourself, well, one, I'm not getting away with this because there's a million cameras at grounds and there's VAR. And two, hang on, we've got a game in 3 days. Or did he want the break? I don't know. Like, you know, we've got to stop doing this. You know, like I said, with the Romero against Callum Wilson. It was
the last day, right? If he doesn't do it then he gets a yellow card against Bournemouth and it's fine because it all resets after that.
Mate, it's mad. Look, something's got to happen. I know that people say they want the fight and that bite and that. And, of course, we all do, Sean. But there's got to be a level to it, right? It just seems
it's like the difference between Mike Tyson controlling his aggression or biting off, biting Evander Holyfield's ear off. Like you control your aggression, control your fight, and it's a useful tool. You let it get out of control, and it's going to come back and bite you on the backside. And I think that we're kind of crossing that line. But I don't know how you stop it. I don't know if Ange can tell people to, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it is a problem, though. I think it's definitely emerging as something that we've got an issue with.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing we need to cover, Sean, is just quickly for the last 5 minutes, and then I really must go. Lots of people talking again about, look, we've had this conversation in the summer, we'll have the conversation all through the season, is about his decision again to not give any of the youth a chance. We've been decimated, like other clubs have, decimated by injuries and suspensions. But the other clubs, when they've been decimated by suspensions and injuries, like Liverpool putting in Quansah at centre-half, Brighton putting in Hinchelwood at right-back, Newcastle putting Lewis Miley in, Man United have put Kobe Mainu into midfield. Chelsea the other night brought on an 18-year-old off the bench. We seem very reluctant to do it for any game, Sean. Why is that? Because everyone's talking about our young players in such glowing references. What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, Belizza's been given minutes, right? So
no, but I mean, from the start of games. I mean, they put in Hinchelwood last night. Look at the game he has, pocket sun for fun, right? Like, Kobe Mainu's been starting games in central midfield for Man United. And you think to yourself, how at any point, Sean, have we not gone like this weekend? Right?
Well, does Pape Sarr not count as playing a youth player?
Yeah, sure, but Pape Sarr's been at the club for 2 years and has got international football experience and played in the top league in France and the Premier League last season. I'm talking about the players coming through the youth team now.
The academy players. So Donnelly, Dorrington, and Phillips. Yeah,
Phillips. Okay. Like the example I'll give you is Kulu is suspended this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Now, the easy thing to do is just go, okay, we'll chuck Lo Celso in that position.
Yeah.
Why not chuck Lo Celso in instead of Højbjerg, right, at home, and why not give Donnelly and say, Donnelly, go on, knock yourself out. You're not going to lose the game because you played Donnelly and sent in attacking midfield. You're not going to lose the game through that alone. So why not? Why not do it? Why not give Dorrington or Phillips a game instead of Emerson Royale at centre half because we conceded 4 anyway. So why not?
Yeah, well, listen, I would like to. I don't think you should. I don't want to start Donnelly. I think I think Brian Hill was quite interesting last night when he came on. I thought he ran. I think he was a little bit frustrating with some of his decision making towards the final ball and stuff. But I thought he was pretty interesting. So I think you've got people that are ahead in the queue, at least in the forward areas. But I'd like to see Donnelly get some minutes during the game. I think you'll probably see that against Bournemouth because I don't think we'll have any other options. But as far as Dorrington and Ash Phillips go, I can only assume that they're not deemed ready. I can only assume that
isn't
Ange watches these guys all day, every day, and he thinks that the order of priority for centre-backs right now is Romero and Van der Ven, Davies,
Royale,
Dyer, Phillips, Dorrington.
But okay, Sean, in that sense, and I don't disagree with you. Isn't that worrying? Isn't that worrying then that we're talking about Dorrington being the best centre-half that's coming through the academy? Ashley Phillips, we've actually actively gone out and bought from Blackburn.
For a lot of money, was it like 7 or 8 million, 8, 10 million or something like that? Was it?
I can't even remember, mate. But the fact that we've got those two and they're seeing 2 fullbacks play in front of them. Now, I'm not saying play the 2 together. I'm not saying go on, Dorrington and Phillips, go in. But in a game where you conceded 4 last night and Emerson Royale was absolutely horrific, what difference? I'll ask you this, whether they're ready or not, Sean, what would have been the difference last night to Dorrington or Phillips, not both, one of them starting alongside Ben Davies instead of Royale?
Well, with the benefit of hindsight, no difference, right? But at the start of the game,
even without hindsight, I mean, I don't want to see Emerson Royale play for Tottenham.
Royale and Davies played against Manchester City, and we didn't lose that game.
No, yeah, but it's not just about losing the game. I mean, Royale is dreadful. Even against Man City, if they had taken their chances, Royale can't defend. Like
but what I'm saying is that Royale and Davies they've been makeshift, they've been shoehorned in, and they haven't been atrocious. Like in certain games, they've managed to get the job done in one of those games. I think we won. I think it wasn't Newcastle or Forest. It was. Anyway, I think my memory's not great, but like if with the benefit of hindsight, like now you look back and kind of go, okay, we conceded 4 goals, so yeah, it wouldn't have made any difference. It wouldn't have made any difference. You might as well have put Dorrington in. But before the game, there wasn't a belief that we were going to concede 4 goals, and so, like for me personally, I wouldn't start them yet. Like I think that there's enough evidence there. If Ange watches them every day, and thinks that these 2 are below Eric Dyer and below Emerson Royale in the pecking order,
then shouldn't they go out?
There's a rationale for it, isn't it? There's something that he's seeing that's putting them at the bottom of the list.
So let me ask you then. So just quickly, we'll finish in 2 minutes. This January, then surely Spurs are looking at loans for both Dorrington and for Phillips, because if they can't get in now, and we're talking about going to buy a Todibo, let's just say it's Todibo. Let's fingers crossed. And you've now got Van der Ven, Romero, Todibo, Davis. Dyer would have gone, but Royale will still be there. We're talking about these 2 players being option 6 or 7. They've got to go out on loan, because what's the point?
Well, it depends if you can find someone who's going to take them on and play them, who also plays a high line, right? It's important that they learn the system. And I don't know how many teams like. So, would you rather them play at a ridiculously lower level in the under 21s that plays a high line, so they can familiarize themselves with the high line, or would you rather send them to a club where they play a higher level but they play a low block?
Sure, I understand that, but let's be fair. I mean, remove Dorrington for a second. He's got no experience of going out on loan yet, right? So for me, with Dorrington, I think the experience would just be getting men's football, right? Ashley Phillips has got this. I'm not saying it's a huge sample size, but he's played Championship football for Blackburn Rovers. Surely we can find a top of the table League One club or mid-table Championship team that have got a defensive issue, and we go, right, do you want Ashley Phillips for 6 months? Yeah, just to get some football in, because my worry is.
I want them. Listen, if they're not good enough for us, then I think the 21 standard is terrible. But I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not familiar enough with lower league football to know how many teams play. I'd rather them. I want them to learn our system.
Sure.
The most important thing for me is continuity in the philosophy. I think you and I spoke about that for ages, right? That we've moved to a system where we play a sort of aggressive, high press, high line football. Whether or not Ange stays for 4 years or 14 months or whatever else, the next guy you want to come and play something similar. You're happy to see that the youth systems are all playing the same football. It's continuity so that they can come through the system and be ready, similar to Ajax. There's no benefit for me if we're going to move in this direction to sending a player out to get first team men's football who plays a low block.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Mate, listen, I absolutely hear you. And I suppose that is the conundrum. But equally, if I'm Ashley Phillips, especially Ashley Phillips, Dorrington's a kid from the youth, right? So Dorrington will know the game. Like Dorrington will know the game of, dreaming of playing for Spurs. He probably supports them. I don't know, all that. Phillips is coming in the summer. He must be looking at thinking, hang on. Van der Ven and Romero are out. Yeah. Surely I'm going to get a start. And the fact that throughout all this time of both of them being out, he's not even had, even at 4-0 up at home to Newcastle, right, Sean?
Yeah, exactly.
4-0 up at home to Newcastle.
Those sorts of things you start to question, don't you?
We didn't go, do you know what, Dorrington?
Give
Romero's
him 20
on
minutes.
a yellow. Go on, have 10 minutes at the end of the game. So my worry is
there's question marks. There's question marks around Ange's in-game management. I've said this from the start. I love the guy. I'm happy he's here. But it doesn't mean that he's perfect. He's not perfect. And so you, as an armchair fan, well, I've got the armchair. You are entitled to have an opinion. That's the whole point of having a channel. So a reason why I started one, I'm sure it's the reason why you did. You want to get your voice, your opinion out there. It's okay to sit there and say, I love Ange Ball, but in my opinion, and who am I? But in my opinion, there's things you can do, there's things that he could improve on. And one of those things for me is in-game management.
Do you know, the thing is, what's coming out now is the moment that anyone like me or you, because we were, you'll hear what I'm going to say in a minute. The reason like me or you will get more criticism for criticizing the manager is because we wanted a different style of play. But me wanting to see Spurs play football doesn't just mean that I want to see it at all costs. It doesn't mean that I think that for the whole 90 minutes, we have to be gung-ho and not worry about the other end. But that's what it is.
I'm happy with the style of football, but that doesn't mean
I am.
When you're 2-0 down against Brighton, and you could have gone in at half-time 5-0 down, 5-1. We had a good chance at the end of the first half, but we could have been 4-0 down after 10 minutes in that game. You wait till half time and then you come out with the same team. Like I was talking to Tapping Tobes and Sim and Ben and all these guys in the back at the bar at half time, and every single one of us were like, "You've got to get Lo Celso on this pitch. You have to have someone in the midfield.
I agree.
Who can control the ball, dictate the pace. You have to do something." What happens? Same team, and then you go 3-0 down, and then you bring the player on. Then you go 4-0 down. Too little, too late. We turned it on in the last 20 minutes, but again, that's like. And in Ange's defense, I think Lo Celso did he was stripped and ready to come on when they scored their third goal, but it was like
too late for me. Yeah,
should happen at 45 minutes, not at 65 minutes.
Listen, Sean, I'll go to end the show in like 60 seconds. What I will say is, even Pep Guardiola gets things wrong, right? And I'll use this as a nice segue. Even greats like Carlo Ancelotti, and the reason I'm talking about Carlo Ancelotti, for anyone that hasn't seen, Carlo Ancelotti has just signed a new contract as manager of Real Madrid till 2026. So that's some breaking news for you. Not the most exciting of breaking news. Sean, look, let's just hope transfer window opens next week. I'm sure we'll be doing lots of videos together and streams together about who we've bought, who we're bidding for, all of that. Thank you very much for joining. Everyone in the chat, thank you. I had a really, really enjoyable show this morning, especially after last night. So thank you very much. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for subscribing. Get over to Spurs Talk Show. You know where to find Sean and his chair. Please do go and subscribe. Sean, what you got coming up? You got anything planned? I know it's a weird time of year, but anything coming up?
Oh, I'm torn. I'm going to take the dog out for a walk now, and I will either do a video to talk about get the stuff off my chest that I basically already said here. Or I want to do a live stream in a couple of hours. Because I went downstairs when I said I need to go for a wee. I went downstairs and because that first one, even though it was flat, it went down quite nicely and it's made me feel a little better. So,
it's going to be a lovely day.
Sloppy game for sure.
Oh man!
Yes, guys. I'm closing in on 21k. So if anyone hasn't subscribed, I really appreciate the support.
There you go. Smash the 21k for Sean. Help me get to 12,100 with 30 away. So please do smash the subscribe button for both channels. Sean, thanks very much. I'll catch you later, mate. Everybody enjoy your Friday. It's Friday today, isn't it? Enjoy your Friday. I'll do a video later. I'll be back tomorrow for something. And then Sunday we'll do a watch along of Tottenham Hotspur are home to Bournemouth. Take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.